brawl and double bubble, depending on the map, seem to kind of be the way to go. And this is surprising to me, like some of the goofier brawl comps that we're seeing being played, considering we're expecting, hey, it's Asia teams. They like Winston more. They're better Winstons. So they're going to be playing Winston compositions more often. Now, for those of you guys that might not have watched Overwatch League analysis, don't worry. When we do this, we make sure that we explain things relatively simply. Some of the stuff I might go over a little bit quickly, but I take pride in attempting to explain things in a way that explain advanced concepts in a simple way. Because ultimately, even at the Overwatch League level, the stuff that goes wrong usually isn't like super complicated. It's usually just basic crap. It just goes wrong, right? The miscommunication here, people scuffing map control up, just really basic stuff. You know what I'm saying? So don't worry so much about it. We're gonna have some fun. Now, what else this is gonna go over is I'm very curious about the DPS picks, because we've seen a lot of Monkey, right? But like, okay. But what we have seen is we've seen some Reaper, we've seen some Sombra, we've seen some Ashe, we've seen some Tracer. So we've seen a little bit of different compositions, and I'm curious about what's going to be played here. I'm especially curious because what we've only really seen from Western teams here, at least from what my experience is Symmetra TP to point comps. I don't know how Asian teams break this choke, because you guys play ranked, you guys play Hanamura first. You guys know what this choke feels like. It's like the gameplay equivalent of like taking a railroad spike and jamming it through your foot. Like, it doesn't feel very good. It sucks breaking this choke, and it sucks. And let's see. What are they gonna do to break this choke? Boy, bruv. Again, the polite laugher guy. We missed that guy. I did not sleep well last night because I did not have the polite laugher man in my life yesterday. Okay, they're gonna mirror double bubble. Now, here's the thing. When we talk about, for those of you that might have seen my Winston guide today, we talk about kill box. One of the small things that we talked about. This is the kill box. Everybody on New York Excelsior right now is all set up to kill, attack, pressure this area right here. Now, they might not all in here, but they're gonna at least pressure in this juicy, succulent little area right here. That's the goal, okay? Because this is where you have, this is a nasty choke. This is where you have a lot of angles put on this position here. Now, what the hard thing is here is that Guangzhou doesn't really want to fight in this choke. They'll fight in this choke a little bit, but they're fighting this choke so they get out. They want to go this way, or more likely go this way. So they have to fight the enemy team. They have to fight New York a little bit just to be able to get their backline through here, because they need to be able to rotate to a more open position. The problem with fighting here is because you can only really see the enemy team through this choke here. They can hide, and they can all shoot you in this spot. The only really other way to attack it is from using this window here, which only heroes with mobility can. And obviously that's not great either. So really what we expect Guangzhou to do is to put out some form of pressure, probably on Yakpong, turn the corner, put some pressure on Yakpong, maybe put some pressure on Bianca, maybe do a little bait here, whatever, maybe bubble through, but they need to get in here. They might even get here clumped up as 6 and then rush up the stairs and try and take a fight from there. Why Monkey instead of Ryan for New York? Because for Monkey, again, it's just a compositional choice here. Like Monkey can like, if you're playing an entire composition that's playing around mobility, right? So you're playing around controlling multiple different angles and not stuffing the choke. So these guys were not hard stuffing choke. If they were a hard stuffing choke, you'd see Mei, you'd see, Ryan, you would see, like a Lucio, like it'd be a completely different comp. This comp is not about hard stuffing choke. It's about contesting choke, making it really hard to, but once they get to point, well, then you're going to have a Tracer on a flank, you're going to have an Ashe on high ground, you're going to have Monkey touching point or jumping backline. Like, you're going to have a lot of different things. So it's just like you play Monkey here because Monkey synergizes better with the Tracer. He synergizes better with the Ana and the Brig, or the, and vice versa. So we're going to see a rotate here, I assume, from at least some of Guangzhou. Yeah, so nothing happens. They try to rotate, they get stuffed. They might be farming nano, but it doesn't look like it. They jump their Monkey to point. Now this is what's really interesting. This is what's really interesting to me. Now, this is what Guangzhou is trying to do. Okay, let me explain this to you. Guangzhou is jumping their Monkey here, and at the same time sending their tracer out the top left. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to utilize that leverage, like invading the attention this way, so that their supports can go from here inside here, okay? It's like if you guys had a Reinhardt on Hanamura first and he just pinned a point. You're like, oh, that's kind of a feed, but that doesn't mean that you can get out of the choke usually, because their Rein's generally going to follow, right? But what's happening is New York isn't, they're not doing that. New York isn't, they're just kind of standing on the choke. They're not hard peeling. Like this jump right here. He's on point. They're not even, they're shooting a little bit at him. But do you see how, like, the tank line? Do you see how Bianca, and they're not chasing the Winston back here. They're stuffing choke. They know that they cannot let these guys rotate. They cannot let these guys rotate. They keep the Ana and Brig stuffed, and really the Zarya as well, stuffed in the choke. They don't care. The monkey on point, honestly, you could just go send, you know, Feather. Send Feather. Feather on Tracer with maybe an armor pack and go shoot the monkey, and he can contest point and deal with that. Don't worry about it as much. But they have to somehow stop Eileen and Rio from getting through, or from getting value from what they do. So really, they stuff choke. They do not let them out. To be honest, I don't think you can stop Eileen from rotating though. So, well, maybe it looks like Feather's chasing. No, Feather's not. Yeah, so I think Eileen gets through. Yeah, Eileen gets through. And this is really big, chat, because here's now what we can do. So Feather, I assume, will get out. Yeah, so now this is big. So now if we look at this, this is Hanamura choke the way we were looking at it just now. This is the attackers here. This is the defenders here. Okay? Now we have seen a lot of like soft pushes out here. Push, 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 push. But as they were doing that, eventually they managed to sneak Eileen on Tracer up this way. And this is big because now not all of Guangzhou is stuffed in the choke. Now some of Guangzhou is stuffed in the choke. And the reason that's big is because now we don't have to jump Rio to point to bait them to come off of choke. You see this? Now we can have Rio jump up to like high ground up here. And Eileen, who's already on the back line, can go pressure point by himself. And guess what? A Tracer on point is a lot harder to bully out than a monkey. You notice how they got rid of Rio when he was on point? I'm pretty sure they just had the Ashe shoot at him a couple times. Tracer can hide behind Bell and just sit there. And nobody can, and you're gonna have to actively walk your little tootsies over there and go get rid of her. And that's gonna be hard. So I think the idea is that they kept soft pressuring, soft pressuring, soft pressuring. And I actually think the main goal here was to get Eileen through, which makes sense to me. And now that Eileen's through, Guangzhou might be able to rotate because Eileen will be able to bait enough of blue guys off of choke. And when blue guys get off of choke, or when blue guys on the choke stop getting healing, then you can push them. So now maybe Eileen being on point means that these guys can actually get out of the choke. Yes, Alindial. Yes. It's the megas, yeah. It's very hard to push. And also you have to think about where Guangzhou is positioned as well. Because if you look at where Guangzhou is positioned, Guangzhou is sitting on the high ground here. So if Tracer comes here, she's going to either go up high ground and run into these guys, or they're going to drop and chase her on low ground. So this is further away from backline. If you saw Friday and Jonak over here, Eileen on Tracer would probably not go this way. She'd probably run away and go this way. So the megas, but more importantly, enemy backline. And now Feather's stuck in the backline, which is okay. She's Tracer. Ooh. Oh, you see that, chat? Just as we predicted. Eileen's high ground, and then what do? They also send their monkey on the high ground as well. And now Yakpung's out. Very patient. Space created. And now they go to point. Do you see this, chat? And do you instantly see what Guangzhou has done? They've burst out of the choke. They've seen monkey has jumped out. Now is our opportunity to walk out of the choke. And you can take this to ranked. If you see enemy monkey has jumped out and you still have some of your cooldowns available, that's your chance to push up, because you know he's not going to be jumping on you anymore. And again, you see how New York is just refusing to give up this choke. They push out, but they're still kind of near the choke, and New York is like, you know what? Screw point. We're not letting you guys leave the choke. They've earned, and they're almost out of the choke. Oh no, stupid New York, putting us back in again. But you know, while they do this, Rio is putting pressure on point. Now, the key thing here is what, chat? What's the key thing here? What's the key thing here? Why do New York win this fight? Let's ignore, like, let's assume that there's not a mechanical misplay. Like maybe Krong missed a bubble on Kaylee, right? Maybe they messed up their sleep dart. They look like they're going for a sleep dart right here, yeah. And sleep dart probably got bubbled, so that's probably, you know, a couple of missed cooldowns here. But why do New York win this fight? Yeah, so their supports are caught in a bad rotation, right? Because they push out and then have to go all the way back again. But even more importantly, what was used there? Did you see what was being used? Nano. Yeah, Nano was the big one there. They got Nano first. That's pretty big. And so that's just like an extra man there, basically. Like you have a pincer with Feather on the flank. You guys notice that they managed to get a pincer. It's just, they're just screwed. Updating the partnership yet? So they responded. They're like, "Hey, you're doing a great job, but you're gonna have to wait and reapply in 2 weeks." I'm like, I met the parameters, but they didn't give it to me, so I gotta wait 2 weeks. So that's sad. So I think the mistake there from Guangzhou was maybe the backline needed to be more patient. Maybe they needed to say, hey, we've got the space here. Let's let Rio apply pressure on point for a little longer. You see what I'm saying? Maybe they could have had either Eileen do this instead of Rio, and Rio plays closer to Core. Maybe Rio and Eileen could have done this together, and Core could have waited to push until they saw what was happening on point, right? We saw this with the Paris Eternal versus Boston Uprising in Nepal, where Paris kept, it was Paris. Paris kept pushing through a choke and then applying point pressure like afterwards. And then they're like, okay, well, we can just ignore point because they just started capping. We're just going to run you guys on main. Instead, you should go to point, get to like half a tick, and they start to contest you, and then you push out of the choke. Because then they're like, which one? This one, they're like, okay, we've got a full like 5 seconds or so before we even give up a tick. We've got 5 seconds to push these guys. I think you need to time that better. The requirements are 75 average viewers, which I had like 81. Stream for something hours, which I had, I think 10 or 12 more hours in the requirement. And I forget what the other requirement was, but I had all the requirements. It was unfortunate. Now this is why Hanamura sucks, because you've spent all that time to set up a fight, honestly chat, like all that crap to set up, and then one nano boost and one mistake, and you start all over again. You have to fight stat by stat by stat by stat by stat just to get back to where you were. Now you do have nano, but yeah. Oh wow, chat, that was really aggressive from Kaylee, but also really aggressive from Team Blue, from New York. Holy cow. Are they gonna be able to peel off the nano monkey though? Because as we speak, yeah, so this is just too early from Kaylee. Like, we've seen Kaylee consistently get split too early. We saw it on Eichenwald. He needs to wait. Again, I forget who. Like, you go through the choke, and then you go, and then again, you feed off of your tank's aggression as a DPS. DPS, especially if they're not mobile, like we can't do this before your tanks even dive. You're just gonna get poked out, which is exactly what happened, or you're gonna get dove. This is just silly. So good, great dive from New York, but like now is when Kaylee should jump, because the follow-up is just gonna not likely to be there. Because the monkey's not gonna get healing, the tracer's not gonna get healing. the monkey will start being poked before he even dies. Like there's just a less chance of this working. New York is doing. Let's see how New York peels off this nano monkey though, because like you got nano monkey right here.
버티고 있죠, 딥라인. 딥라인 버티고 있죠. 잘 버티고 있어요. 좀 있으면은 재웠네요.
There's no pincer there. There's no tracer pincer, so the nano monkey doesn't do anything.
류어 선수
Like this is why, if you're just like listen to me, chat. If you're just going to nano monkey in, you either need if you're going to nano monkey in, you need your DPS to either to be in a position to flank and pressure the enemy team at the same time. Or if nobody but your monkey is in position to push the enemy, then your supports and backline needs to get their fat bottoms in gear. Because you look at this and you're like, okay, Rio doesn't get any kills here, but he baits a lot of attention and he wastes a lot of time. You can't afford to have this happen. This is an unforgivable mistake because, again, Rio doesn't get a kill, but a lot of pressure, a lot of time. That's bubbles, that's armor packs, that's nade, that's sleep. That's a lot of attention and time, right? And it's all thrown in the trash because Kaylee goes too early and Kaylee feeds. Like, you just can't do this. Like, because that's, again, another ultimate. All of Rio's work back here is completely wasted. So Guangzhou's execution here, timing-wise, has not been great. Timing of the point pressure, not great. Timing of the point pressure, not great. Timing of Kaylee's peak, not great. And obviously we're doing this without a replay code, so we assume that there was some sort of misplay on Mandu and Kariv's dealing with Nanomonkey on the enemy side, but yeah, we won't go over the micro misplays. And really, like, let me look at this again. So what should be happening right now, chat? You've already seen essentially two team fights from Guangzhou. What should you break down for me? What each member of Guangzhou should be doing right now? What should Kaylee be doing? What should Eileen be doing? Krong, Mandu, Kariv. Break it down for me. Right now. What should they be doing? Type it up. This is a good exercise in understanding double bubble. If you guys want to be able to watch, because we got Overwatch League in a month. Less than a month, I think. Yes. Zarya Brig, Ana, crossing through choke. Ana looking to punish with sleep or nade the enemy tanks, if you can. Anticipating a counter dive. Zarya Brig pocketing her tracer, pocketing her DPS, looking to proc Inspire. Zarya looking to get charged and pressure the enemy tank. Kaylee looks to peek, right? Coach Gun go for that aggression. Tracer looks to break through choke. Maybe look to duel the enemy tracer. Kaylee offing force point. Yes, stuff needs to happen now. Now, whether you're going to go in and push the enemy monkey, whether you're going to push the enemy tracer, whether you're going to pressure point, whether you're going to go look for a quick blow up on the enemy Zarya, I don't know. But something needs to happen. Push into a better position. Exactly. Right now, something needs to happen. You take a duel, you peek, you look for a cooldown, you look for an ultimate. Like, something needs to happen now. But obviously, New York, they can do the same thing too, right? This is what we want them to do, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to work. Both teams really know what the enemy team wants to do, so it's just going to be execution at this point, right? Like, if we look at what's happened so far, we haven't lost fights because Guangzhou had no idea what to do, as Guangzhou mistimed it. They didn't execute on it properly. The point pressure was too they pushed out a choke too early, right? So like right now, Feather's not mirroring Eileen, so Eileen can go wherever he wants. So it's really going to be interesting to see. No. So what here's my thought process, Mentos Fruit Core. Whenever you have map control. In other words, whenever you control all the flanks and angles and the enemy team is pushing through a choke, right? They have map control. Guangzhou's sitting behind a choke. I want you to match ultimates. I do not want you to kite. Because then when you kite, I think the map control is so important, it's worth committing ultimates to hold. In other words, this Rio's primaling, you know, here it comes. The primal's coming. Everybody with like a blind man can see this, right? So I don't want you to just be like, oh, just survive the primal guys. Hopefully it will work out okay, and then we can ultimate afterwards. No. I want Yakpung. Okay, they're going to push out of the choke now. Well, I'm primaling too. Screw you. You're not getting through the choke. I want solo Grav the monkey. Maybe not all of them at the same time. But I want to trade ultimates. But my ultimates are always going to be better because my ultimate started when we were holding the choke. We have the map, so whenever you use your ultimate, my ultimate's better. Think of it this way, chat. It is easier. No, quit whining. Do you see how awkward this engage was for Rio? Like he like you see this? You see this like because Rio wasn't like because Rio's not like set up really great. You see how awkward this engage? Like he's already like half HP as he's engaging, right? Because New York had the map. He was off, you know, in La La Land. So this primal is going to be forced earlier. The bubble is going to be forced earlier. So his primal is going to get less done. Yakpung's primal is going to be better because he's going to wait for them to walk out and then he's going to go boom right in the giblets. Okay? And they're all like in a small thing and his primal should be better. So even though we're going to match ultimates, our ultimates will always be better because we have the better positions, which is why I don't think you like to give up positions and then try an ultimate afterwards. I don't like that. I like being proactive defending our space. Don't chase them into their spawn, but as soon as they step on my flippin' earth, you get punched in the jaw. Exactly, Mentos. When we have the better map, and if we both grav, but we're on high ground and you're not, we win. That's the way I like to look at it. If we nanoblade, but my monkey's dropping on your backline, and your monkey's having to die from a million miles away, then our nanoblade's probably more likely to follow to win. Why exactly? Why give them any advantage at all? Just mirror ultimates. Start building the next one. So I'm curious to see if we're gonna see any ultimates here. This feels like a mistake. This feels like a mistake. I don't see red really pushing all that much at all. Again, it's really hard for me to see, but red is very passive right now. Guangzhou is very passive. They're not. It doesn't even look like they peeked through. Like I'm looking at Yakpung's HP. Yakpung's HP hasn't budged this entire fight. You see this? It hasn't budged. They're not even pushing through choke. Rio is legit primaling on the back line, and they're standing AFK and choke. Now, obviously, again, you're expecting them to match ultimates here, right? So Guangzhou can't just go, hey, we win the fight. Rio is primaling through choke. But they at least need to force primal, right? This is weird. Tell me you're American without telling me you're American. The only way I can do this is by saying something that's probably somewhat offensive, so I'm not going to do it. Not like racist offensive, obviously, but like edgy jokes. I'm like, I'll pass. Oh, that's American. Okay. Ron Paul 2012. There you go. Okay. Interesting graph. I'll be honest, interesting graph. I mean, a kill is a kill, but you got to see like how it's like again through the choke doesn't feel great. I'd prefer them to be a little more patient, like match ultimates, but they're not even pushing through the choke, so you don't need to match ultimates. As for the name EU countries, I'm pretty good at EU countries. Slovakia, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, and Philippines. Okay. Bob, by the way, is really good in this because you see what he's done? He's established an off angle and he's put point pressure at the same time. Bob is legit busted on first point and second point, Hanamura. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. I'm really, really good. Yugoslavia isn't a country anymore? What is this? This is just goofy, man. This is so. Here's what we've seen. Rio is completely desynced with his team. Completely desynced with his team. Really questionable grav because that was a lot of cooldowns used for one kill and threw a choke on an Ashe that wasn't aggressive at all. Like the Ashe is, if Ashe is standing here, you don't care. When the Ashe comes through here and Zarya comes through here, that's when you care. but they managed to force themselves to go through a choke, which is going to feel really bad, as we see here, because it costs bubbles, it costs blinks, and it costs Winston bubble as well. Somehow Bianca dies to a pulse. We don't know what happened there. That might just be a mechanical play. That's just scuffed as all get out. And now we're blowing a lot of ultimates. And now we're nanoing? Boo! Boo! And I repeat, boo! And I'm telling you, so this is the problem. When things get messy, okay, chat, I have to feed my stupid cat. She's not stupid, I like you. But what's wrong? Why do messy fights favor, that's the word, Guangzhou? Come here. Come here. And this is a question we've asked before in a pro analysis, so you guys should know. Spawn advantage, yes. What else? What else? It's not just the spawn advantage, because you think about it this way. Who has a clear advantage? If both teams were robots, let's put it this way, Guangzhou would have a 0% team fight percentage. They would never win a team fight because the defending team would always have an advantage. Always. Okay? They would never lose. It's only human error that allows defenders to win, right? So when chaos starts to happen, the team that should lose has an equal opportunity to win. Like it's in the chaos, a clear advantage might not be a clear advantage at all. You see what I'm saying? Like New York should never lose, but then chaos starts happening, and in the funkiness, the advantage they have might not be there anymore. Right? And not only that, but if you actually look at what kind of chaos we see, let's look at the chaos that we see. So we trade 1 for 1, we get a kill here, but in the chaos, Feather is caught mispositioned. We have to rally. We're rallying and we nano. And what do we get out of it? A mirror rally? No. 9. Nada. And chat, what is wrong with this engage? Who are the attackers and who are the defenders now? Oh, we gotta change the VOD. Chat, I'm gonna do that actually right now. Who are the attackers and who are the defenders now? There you go. Yeah, New York is attacking now. They're the ones that just ran through a choke into the spawn. It's no good. It's no good. I think this is a mistake. It might be because they think that they're trying to bail Feather out, but this isn't worth committing an ultimate for. Certainly not 2 ultimates. And Eileen was dead. In other words, the enemy tracer was dead, so there's really nobody that could go chase down Feather in their backline and kill him. This is a mistake. This is a mistake. New York should lose first point now. They should lose first point. Because even if they don't die here, that is all of their ultimates. And now they've just created chaos. Chaos is, that's going to, and yeah, like that, it's over. It's over. Even though the man even, it's over. Like there's nothing, I don't even need, we don't, so like a lot of the time, we want to analyze things advanced, right? Please tell me that New York doesn't hold on to this, do they? There's no way. They eventually lose. Okay. It's chaos, though. It's chaos. Let's look at this. Okay, so New York does eventually lose off of that, but it takes a long time. Mostly because somehow Eileen dies? What? So Eileen's on back. Eileen gets slept. Again, this is a missed timing. Chat, what's wrong with Eileen going in right now?
그거대로 이상한 거예요.
That's not wrong, but like,
더블 필요도 없는데 우리가
Eileen is on the backline right now. But, from what I'm seeing here, without knowing any other context here, this is a really aggressive position for a tracer to be in. If a tracer is going to be poking at all right now, it's going to be from like here or here or here, whoops, or like down here or like somewhere along those sightlines where it's easier to like play around cover and avoid cooldowns. You would not want to be in the middle of the enemy team unless A, your monkey is in there with you, or your monkey is like aggressively pushing somewhere else where there's not going to be a lot of attention on you. Yeah, this is way too aggressively mistimed. So again, I don't know context here, but we don't really need to know context to tell you that this is too aggressive. Too aggressive. Too early. Too aggressive, too early. Again, they graph to bail him out, but once again, the problem with this graph, well, chat, what's the problem with this graph? Again, I'm not going to spoon feed you this stuff. You guys should know. Tracer's dead. What's the problem with this graph? There's no follow-up. Like, your monkey just used jump. There's nobody over there. It doesn't matter if this is a 6-man grab and they're all like squishies and yadas. Unless you're a million charge and you could somehow land right clicks through a Winston bubble, it's not going to happen. So, like, the best thing really that Guangzhou could do here is just, oh, shoot, we lost our tracer. That's okay. We still have the map. We still have graph. Is sit on point, deal with the Ash, and if once they contest, then you graph. Once they push into your space, then you graph. Because then you're going to get follow-up. 1, 2, you know, the monkey stuff over here, the Ash over here, right? This is Owl. This is Owl. This Ash survives. This Ash survives. Do you hear me? This Ash survives.
이게 아닌데. 이거 아니에요. 아직 진 것 같은데. 뭐지?
So it's worth noting that despite all this trash gameplay, that Guangzhou still is able to make the rotate, able to get out of choke, and is able to hold high grounds. And Feather also overextends. So Feather makes the same mistake Eileen does and goes in too deep, too aggressive, too greedy. And gets punished for it.
제가 잘못한 게 아니라
Really, all of New York does it. So New York actually gets 2 picks for free here. Oh, chat, it's literally just who's going to throw harder. So New York overextends, gets punished for it. Feather overextends, gets punished for it. I don't know how Kariv dies.
이거 아니에요. 아직 진 것 같은데.
But whatever, they rotate, okay? Then New York says, hey, we're up 2. Let's just run in. But the problem is they're not full HP yet. They don't have cooldowns, and Jonak is lagging behind. If they had waited for Jonak and waited like 2 or 3 more seconds, they could have easily wiped all of Guangzhou. So then they go in too aggressive, and then they die. It's literally New York overextends, then Guangzhou overextends, and then New York overextends. It's all about overextension too early and playing around your space. Because even now, like, there's a trade. Like if they had just waited for Jonak, there's 0 chance Yakpong dies. They clean this up, easy peasy. But now Yakpong dies. Zarya might survive. Even if Zarya doesn't survive, Guangzhou could just walk through the choke because all of New York is in spawn. There's only 3 of New York here. Look, here comes Guangzhou. 3, 2, 1. Here comes Guangzhou. Bang. Not even waiting. So, I mean, we don't have to understand and go over micro details to the fundamentals. We can talk about how tracers were splitting a lot. Ashes were synchronizing pressure on Winston's, or should have. Zaryas were oftentimes split with supporting backline or pressuring the enemies. Like, did you notice how Krong was on point? Did you notice how Mandu and Kariv were split once they got past the choke? Did you guys notice that? They were stacked getting through a really bad space, but once they kind of got out and got some space and air and they could see the enemies, they started to get a little bit split. Obviously not super split because you still need to armor pack and they might still need to bubble and pocket, but they were able to split a little bit more once they got safe. You kind of see what I'm saying, chat? You could start to be more aggressive and get a little greedier once they got out of this choke, right? So there's lots of little things that we can understand, and we can pull away from this from understanding double bubble. But the main reason why these team fights are being won are due to really big, and really the last big team fight was just simply overextending past your space. Instead of stabilizing and then pushing, stabilize and then push, and sometimes just not pushing at all. That sleep was kind of sus. Potentially, yeah. Oh, I didn't have nade yet. Why didn't he have nade yet? What did he use nade for? He used it to get a brig up that he doesn't even did. I don't even think the nade hit the brig. No, it didn't hit the brig, chat. I don't think it hit the brig. That's unbelievable. If that nade hits the brig, they win this fight because they keep the brig up. And this monkey cannot pressure this this dear Ana. That's so funny, chat. Look, that's just unbelievable. Little things, man. But yeah, that's just going to guarantee things for Guangzhou. That's going to be it. Wait, what? He survives? That's Scream. Holy cow. That is quite intense. But there's no way Guangzhou loses this. Okay. So, main takeaways. Both teams need to understand more about like pushing through chokes and playing around your space, and then if you get an advantage like New York had a 2-man advantage, don't blitz through. Chill, stabilize, get your heels back, and then push. Ozzy OW, thank you for the sub. Your name sounds really familiar. Thank you so much for the sub. Just don't rush things. Jonak threw both cooldowns in a choke for some reason. I think he was trying to like slow down their engage so that they could get their guys back in time. But I think it would have been better to play defensively by just backing off of choke entirely, backing off of point entirely, giving 2 ticks, and then re-engaging. And then if save sleep and nade if they decide to overextend again. To grab the monkey there. I think I think the reason why they didn't grab monkey there is because I think he thought the light fight was probably lost. And obviously committing the grab there to survive and maybe get the kill on the monkey would have been a huge investment, because you probably don't kill the monkey there because I think the fight was already lost. And then you don't have a like you heavily rely off of this ultimate now to avoid getting snowballed. You see what I'm saying? If you commit your grab there and it doesn't work, you are screwed. Good pay Q&A session. Oh wait. You're the main support player, right? Childish Chappelle, thank you for the sub. Are you the main support player? I remember you. Hope you're doing well, mate. Okay. Alright, so again, controlling the map. The kill box is going to be one of 2 locations. Either it's going to be this choke right here, or it's going to be on point. Now, some of you are like, wait, no, it's high ground, right? Right, high ground. Well, here's the thing with high ground. The problem with high ground in this comp. On the grind, sick, good luck. Actually, you know what? I want to go over a custom game. Chat, I want to pull up a custom game. I think this is important. Because Hanamura second is a weird point. This is going to YouTube? Maybe, yeah. I generally don't edit these things too much because it would take too long. Hanamura second is a weird point. Now we're going to talk about this because you're like, oh, why don't you just hold high ground, stuff high ground? So first things first, chat, always avoid going down main if you're on attack, first off. So most teams are going to, because you end up getting shot from like high ground here, from over here, from, you know, over here, from over here, from high ground up here, right? So most teams are going to clear high ground. So you're thinking, okay, you guys probably play ranked, and a lot of the ranked games you play, you guys probably stuff high ground up here. Maybe you guys have like an angle over here, right? Maybe you guys have a DPS over here, but most teams stuff high ground. Now, the question is why would they not stuff high ground here? Now, there's a really important reason for that. You need to find a balance between stuffing chokes, but also having good positions for your Tracer, for your Ana, for your Ashe, etc. If you looked at first point, did you notice where the Ana and Ashe were? The Ashe was actually on high ground here. Now, what's interesting about this is the fact that Ashe doesn't have sightlines on the choke from here, but she's still positioned here. Why? Well, for her to get sightlines onto here, she might be positioned in a location where it's easier for her to get pressured or dove. So they're saying, okay, you know what? We'll make it easier for you guys to get through this choke, but we're gonna make it a lot harder for you to dive us. You kind of see what I'm saying? It's a trade-off. Same thing with up here. Like, why isn't Ashe playing up here like every single time? Well, because it's easier to dive. It's okay to position here. It's not bad, but it's a trade-off. You have to decide. So you go to second point, and there's the same kind of concept. It's like you want a position where you can stuff a choke, but you're also a little scared of getting dove. Because if you could go, okay, on Ashe, just play right here and like smash the choke, yeah. But if they walk through the choke and grab, you're gonna get sucked. On Ashe, you're gonna get sucked into it. You see what I'm saying? If Ashe plays out in the open here, she could get a monkey. Could go right from main and instantly dive her. Or a monkey, if they're on high ground there, could go right from main and pincer dive. His Zarya Brig could push from there, and he jumps the squishies from here. So what we'll probably see New York do is they're like, okay, probably the best places for us to position, at least early, are somewhere back here, at least with an Ana and Ashe. So then you're like, okay, well, can we stuff high ground anymore? Because our Ana and Ashe can't see anything up here, at least not very well. So you might see holding high ground. Your Ana might position like here-ish to be able to heal. But really what's going to happen is that Guangzhou might clear high ground here. New York might drop off of high ground. But really all of New York's angles are on point. Ana, here. And the only thing they might lose is they might lose high ground control, which they can retake again. They can walk back up the stairs once Guangzhou drops to contest point and start to fight for high ground again. But I'm really curious to see how it also, this flank over here too. Like, I'm curious to see how New York plays this because, again, stacking 6 up here to stuff a choke, not good. No good angles. You're very at risk of dive, etc. So I'm very curious. You have to find the balance there. So I'm going to shut this down. So we'll see this. We might see, like, we're seeing Jonak on high ground right now. But do you notice how Ashe is back here? And you notice how the Tracer, our Tracer is not even, she's not even going to pressure the enemy backline. She's preventing her Ashe from being pressured. She's preventing this Tracer from touching point. She's guarding this area of the map. If we can keep all of Guangzhou on this side of the map, then this Ashe is not going to be pressured as much. So bobbing a point on main. And once again, what's the issue, chat? Oh, they nano her. Brilliant. Okay, I was gonna say that once again we've made the mistake with Guangzhou of contesting point and then pushing up top too early. If they're gonna do this, they need to be able to. They should have rallied plus bob. By the way, this play is busted. Bobbing point as your team is pushing high ground, busted. Because you force so much attention on the main. If they don't, Bob kills people or he caps point for you. This is busted. This is a really good play to do in ranked, by the way. Huge whip shot by Friday. I don't think Rio. Maybe Rio was trying to jump up top. That's what I would expect. He bubbles the bob. Oh, no. We got it, chat. We got it. We got it. He hit the bob? Wait, what? I missed it. I missed it. I couldn't see because of, red clutter Overwatch experience. Yo, he booped Bob. And chat, look at poor Rio. You know what Rio was trying to do, chat? He's trying to bubble the Bob so that Jonak doesn't sleep it. Yeah, so it doesn't get slept. That's pretty greedy. I would be scared, but I assume he's doing this because he knows that, hey, I'm going to bubble Bob, wait for my next jump, and then I'm going to jump high ground, and we're going to be rallying, and I'll be fine with rally. You know what I'm saying? Great play by Friday. Great play by Friday. Because as soon as this bubble expires, he's gonna leave, and then they might not even give a tick here because it's only one capping. Huge play. Huge play. Fine graph. So all New York really needs to do here is... Oh, Jonak can't do that. They need to track graph. Jonak can't do that. Again, too much aggression when you really shouldn't be aggressing through into the enemy space, and that results in Jonak getting out. Remember, chat, we talked about the risks of Jonak playing high ground, of a squishy playing high ground. It's this, right? It's not just this, but also Jonak makes it worse by pushing in. He didn't really need to walk into the Zarya to nade her, and really you don't want to be doing this anyway. You forced Bob, you forced Rally, and Nano, or you've Nano, and like just take the L. Like you've traded 1-2, you shut down 2 ultimates. Just build up your rally and chill out. Like again, this is not where you're going to win the team fight. Your Ashe can't see this, your Tracer can't see this. This is not like where you're kill boxed. You're not going to win the team fight here. Stop trying to win the team fight here. This is not your space. If all of your team was high ground and you had like an angle off on the stairs there, this is fine. Push here. But this is not where you're looking to win the team fight. This should be it. New York could very easily lose this fight instantly now. Kaylee again gets split too far. So I'm just curious, where is Kaylee? So Kaylee really should be right now up here. Peeking this here. Okay, in other words, like you see this wall here, peeking high ground. So Kaylee will bob from main, play main, and then we'll look to walk up and coach gun up into this window towards her core. But for some reason, Kaylee's on low ground. Like, I don't know why Kaylee is here. Kaylee should not be here. Kaylee should be up on the high ground with support LOS controlling the fight on point. So without context, obviously, but I honestly think Kaylee is woefully mispositioned. If Kaylee is here, there's zero chance that Kaylee dies. So Kaylee's positioning is the dog on Ashe, on both Eichenwald, a little bit on Gibraltar, and on this map in particular. Because that's a big trade. Probably not going to pay off, but like in Overwatch, like these people are so good at stalling. Ooh, that's a big pulse. Yeah, unfortunate. Kaylee's feeding though. Kaylee is feeding. So big plays by Guangzhou there. Really, really well done with the Bob bubble. Unlucky it got booped. Great play by Friday. Kaylee fed. Fed hard. I'm honestly, Jonak just kind of fed there. Like, Jonak needed to back off and give up space more. They knew they had a significant ult disadvantage. They were kill boxing on point, not on high ground. So you should not be looking to push in aggressively like they did there. The grab was just to force an ultimate, to slow them down. You knew you weren't going to really get the kill there. You shouldn't get the kill there. If you do, great. But, like, you don't all in for the kill there, for the kill. Okay, hey, Brawl, we were hoping to see this because even though Asian teams like the Winston Wart, Brawl is just ridiculously good in this map. Now, chat, why are they playing Tracer? What? First off, normally, let's see if they play Tracer. Oh, they play main. Never mind. I almost baited myself. Probably the Tracer for scouting. Or not even that. So the win condition here is very simple. Here is the choke. Here is the point. You TP to one of these high grounds, because you know that there are going to be enemies here and here and here and here and here, right, surrounding you. So you could just TP to point, sure, but that's sometimes a little scary because you can get you're instantly surrounded and you get burned down, right? So what a lot of teams will do is they'll TP to, like, let's say over here, whoops, over here, and they'll go, and they'll look really scary at these guys, right? And they're like, they run away, or they and they run away back to their team, right? And then they go to point, and then they set up their TPs, right? And then if anybody touches, they get Maywalled or whatever, and you just matrix the off angle, Maywall, lamp if you need to, amp speed, whatever, or amp heals, whatever. But you scare the off angle first. You try and scare off. Maybe it's an Ashe. Maybe make a monk. Maybe make the monkey jump away, or force a couple Zarya bubbles, or scare the Ana, whatever. You just try and spook them before you go right to point. Because if you go straight to point, Like they're gonna be all set up for you, and so you try and spook. You know, maybe you go over here and spook an Ash, or you know whatever, and then you just try and stabilize in point, and you very rarely push outside of point. You've controlled your space in the point. That's what you control, and it's about walling that angle, matrixing that angle. Lucio will boop the Ash maybe if she tries to get too aggressive, and then kill anything that touches.
계속 불리한 상황에서 킬을 내가지고.
So I'm curious where they'll TP.
그래서 이번에는 공격을 하는데 지금 이제 라디를 들고 왔어요.
Because I do think this comp can beat this comp, but I think the execution has to be extremely high. Like I like there's a reason why this comp, well, that's not a reason. This comp is very difficult to beat this comp with. At a high level, it's a lot easier because I think this comp has a, like if you land the nade in the dynamite and you get a good tracer angle and you bubble your Winston perfectly and get a lot of cleave and then you proc your inspire, but it requires a lot of things being done really, really well. So I think in Overwatch League this comp can counter this, but I think below Overwatch League I'm skeptical. And even at Overwatch League, I think this comp is just flat out like easier. So they need to peel off the tracer though, dude. Like I don't know what the deal is here.
막죠. 막는데 이거 까는 거 맞나요?
This is a mistake. Really what they needed to do here is before they rotated, considering how aggressively Eileen is playing behind them and considering how aggressively Rio is playing in front of them, what should they have done before they TP'd? What should they have done? Like look at these guys. There's literally a tracer on your backline right now. There's a monkey in your backline right now. The ladder TP? No. I'm not sure if you're answering my question or not, but yeah, just shoot them. Press mouse 1 at this big stupid monkey. You will force bubble. You will force jump. It won't cost you a single cooldown. You will press mouse 1 on these heroes, and these heroes will go sayonara. And there you go. And you'll force Tracer Recall, or you'll force Tracer Blinks. And if Tracer blinks away, it's going to take her 7 years to get to point once you TP there. Yeah, this is stupid. They're rushing the TP. Just you don't have the element of surprise. They know what you're doing. Like, just shoot them. Instead, they force the TP. Everybody's on fire. Your shield is broken. And your Mei wall is already used as well. So, probably worst case scenario, honestly. Worst case scenario. It's still gonna be... Oh, what a sleep. Where is the Ana? Where's... Oh, I see her, chat. I see her. Right here. You can't even see, I don't think. But that... No. Right here. Peek for the sleep dart. Perfectly timed. We'll see a nade coming in here soon. But yeah, like this is do you see how what I'm saying, chat? Like this comp is just like they scuffed it up and they still just easy TP. They didn't even clear an angle and they still just like 2 ticks instantly. Wait, did they get the nade? Yeah, they get the nade. They get the nade, and the worst part is here's, you guys want to see how they lose this fight. They get the nade, but even worse. Oh, the lamp is just late. I thought they got split. No, the lamp is just late. Lamp was late in Jonak's end. You do not greed your lamp into this. Because really, once Monkey's bubbles is down, there's no way for this comp to beat you. The only way they could beat you is with that all-in play right there. Sleep, nade, dynamite, monkey jump. And then if you survive that, they don't have anything else to contest point. Like against double shield with like a Mei or like like sometimes you'll see like Arista Sigma Mei Ash comps in defense here. Those comps, you have to be a little bit more careful with how you use your lamp, because Arista can touch point, you know, Sigma can barely touch point, their Mei can touch install point. They have a lot more consistent heavy spam. This comp has all in, and if it doesn't work, they fold. They fold. So Guangzhou unironically can win this fight, and the really dangerous thing here is that this comp, when you play this comp isn't very good at building ult charge. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how much ult charge we're having across the field here, with the exception of really Ana and Zarya, because there's not a lot of damage to be taken in. But really look at Jonak. Jonak is doing a lot of healing, right? And Friday will get his ult as well, but Bianca's just kind of shooting, there's no real obvious damage dealing here, right? Same thing with Feather, same thing with Guangbong, yeah, I forget the name. So you get snowballed really easy on this comp if you win, but you can also get snowballed if you do not win first fight. And obviously Lamp is not, a window is not a very good ultimate in this comp. It's not looking good, chat. Yeah. It's a bad Lamp, bad initial engage from New York. And this is what you're terrified of. Yeah, so they give up in the TP strat. Really sloppy. Really sloppy. I know Asian teams aren't as good at the brawl, but it's showing right here. It's showing right here. That was a very sloppy TP. Mechanics aside, any European contenders team, NA contenders team could have executed that better. Maybe Overwatch League team would just do it better because they have better individual players, but in terms of the actual team execution, that was really poor. This is a problem, and this is a problem as well, considering like how tight of a clump that this comp generally plays into these guys. So these guys will split a little bit, but obviously Pulse is pretty more scary into that. So I think what you'll see here from New York is that they're going to walk through choke, they're going to poke out the monkey, like scout for monkey and scout for Ingles, then they're going to rotate either right or they're going to rotate left. Left has the advantage of being a little shorter and more direct to point. But obviously you have that long open space as you're going up the stairs, which is scary. Right is instantly to cover, but there's a lot of like small areas where they can hide and set up flanks on you. So it's kind of scuffed. It also takes a little longer. Would you like to swap the Tracer for an Echo here? Yeah, maybe. But Tracer isn't terrible. She just has to play around McCree Flash and play smart. Like obviously there's things that Trace like, but like again you look at Eileen, and Eileen is for what I assume is a pretty good Tracer, so like Tracer can still get work done. Because remember, ultimately this comp is probably going to point. Like probably this comp is going to end up on point regardless. It'll clear out an angle, but it'll probably end up on point. In which case having another very mobile hero like Tracer is fine. Like Echo might be slightly better, but obviously Echo would be worse against other comps. It's brawl mirror matchups what differentiates good crews from bad ones. I mean, it differentiates like crews that understand how to flank. Yes. Wait, what? They go back to Symmetra? I think they realized that they'd killed Zarya and they just go back 7. They have Mail somehow. Feather built up a lot of ult charge at the end there, chat. How? A lot of ult charge. Wow. Okay, let's try it again. They might just TP straight to point if Zarya's not there, but let's see if they do it something different. Okay, they do. They cleared an off angle. Good. I mean, that alone, right there, is worth the extra time. The problem here is that, yeah, you have your Mail, but they have Bob and Pulse, and Rally, and they'll be close to Nano as well. So... I don't know. Ult advantage, compositional advantage right now, in my opinion. So I'm a little concerned. I think for Friday, you have to build the speed. Like you got to get the speed ASAP. You're gonna force Mail. Ooh, no lamp. That's huge. Pulse used and no lamp. Okay, this is better. This is better. More patience. Clear out the monkey. Once Bubble's gone, you're done. Honestly, kite. Get out. Out. Yes, this is better. What was that blizzard? What on earth? Honestly, Feather needed way more support than he was getting. Like, they need to deal with this Tracer. Why is he not getting help here? They need to be AFKing. I wouldn't even shoot Bob. I would just kite out. Because if you use Pulse and Bob, you're going to build up your beat while you're waiting. You get rid of Tracer, and then you can push here. Like I feel like Feather would need to get Tracer dealt with here. That blizzard is insane. What? Come on, brother. They grab in. Chat, where does that blizzard go? The blizzard goes through the window! Okay, I'm sorry. That's a load of crap. That's the biggest load of bull manure that I've ever seen in my life. Come on, I'm like, he just yeeted it off of point. Like, what? Or yeeted it on point. He was just gonna catch the corner here and wasn't gonna freeze anybody. He gets it through window. He doesn't even look. He just granny shots it in hopes, like, what? That is the luckiest son of a gun, man. That wasn't even intentional. He panicked. I really don't like them pushing out here, though. They really should not be pushing out. This is how you lose. You again, you're pushing into enemy space. NYXL could still, or New York could still very easily. They could still lose this because their macro is so bad on Brawl. Please don't push. Please, please, just discipline. Wait. Because you push out into the open, and now all of a sudden, all the space that you've cleared on point, like, look at this, look at this, look at this. You kill 2 people. Sit on point. What are they going to do? Peel off your own Symmetra. Again, where's my lamp? It's too late. The lamp is too late. Again. And if they push out, we need to run. No, you do not chase. And while you're chasing, your backline's getting screwed. Because remember, let's put it this way, chat. This is the best way of thinking about it. I really want to, like, explain this concept of what Tracer is doing, okay? Tracer is somewhere back here, okay? She's right behind me. As long as I stay here, I can, right? And she's dealt with, okay? But as soon as I start to walk out, I give her more and more space to flank behind me and do work behind me. And now I'm all distracted by what's in front of me, right? All this stuff in front of me, and I'm not paying attention to what's going behind me. You're playing this comp, especially with a Symmetra, you're not playing it to push people, really. Like, you get a male, you freeze 2, sure, you can peek out, give him the Glock. But then you go back, and you cap point. You don't do this. You literally, the late lamp didn't help, but you have lost 2 people to over chasing when you just needed to stabilize, clear point, and push, and you already had an advantage. You already were min up. And instead, they go out in this open space where, guess where Guangzhou is set up around? They're all split up around there, and you lose. This brawl execution is really bad. You guys are making me blush. Not really, I'm just saying that to be nice. Screw you guys. Like, it just doesn't matter now. Like, you've lost your lifeblood. Are they just gonna run it down mid? Yeah, they give up. They go Tracer. Now the Tracer can help because you can rotate the point, and then you can rotate the point, and the Tracer can kind of bully the different off-angles in the enemy team. Tracer can work, but obviously getting to point is still a nice, ugly, long rotation, as we see here. Oof. Oh, they get the Zarya. I don't know how they won this fight. Yeah, this is just chaos. This is just somehow they rotate the point and they get away with this. He shatters Zarya. Wait, what? Does he shatter Brig as well? Chat. Oh, he counterpins Brig. Oh, Brig and Zarya. Yeah, see, Zarya and Brig kind of end here. They both go in too aggressively where the Brawl is going instead of poking out Brawl first. Because you want to time your pressure around your Nano Monkey, yes. But you shouldn't be this aggressive. And obviously, Krong should have personal bubble. He doesn't block it. And then I noticed Mandu got stunned, and I was like, how is Mandu stunned? What's stunning Mandu? Mandu counter pins. You see that? He counter pins, and obviously he's in the middle of the enemy team, so he's gonna die because brawl. And he died with 98% on rally. They eat the pulse bomb as well. So honestly, just a lot of fortunate things happen on the side of New York there. The shatter, Krong not personal bubbling was a big one. Krong not personal bubbling was a big one. And then basically Brigands are being too aggressive there. The constant theme has been both teams being desynced with their pressure, but also pushing outside of space that they shouldn't be doing. Like on first and second defense. Is Spilo German? No. I have a little bit of German in me, but I'm mostly British. Mostly like Scottish or something like that. I have a very Scottish nickname, or a Scottish name. I like coaching. I coached. Hey, Fuki. Shut up. Oh, no. See, this is screw you, Fuki. Screw you. You're just finding another way to poke me. That's all you are. You're not doing this to help me in health. You're not concerned about my health. Screw you. You're just here to harass and be a general nuisance. Yeah, I am American, obviously. But culture, like 100 years ago, kind of a thing. Oh, you're so clever. You're so clever. This is why Europe, the European region, just deserves nothing. Okay, they go Doom. Chat, why do they go Doomfist? Let's brainstorm a little bit. Why do they go Doomfist? Somebody is spamming hydrate for you. Why do you go Doomfist into this comp? Off of Tracer. So one of you guys in chat piped up and like, maybe they would prefer to be an Echo over Tracer in this comp. And I was like, yeah, sure. Well, now you see it. Obviously, he doesn't really want to play Tracer into Diva McCree. It's not terrible, but it's not good. Certainly not good. Interrupt rotations. Okay. So there's two reasons why. There's two reasons why. Okay. Besides Eileen has a good Doom, which I'm sure he does. Okay. The two reasons why are as follows. One, the map situation. Doom is actually pretty good on this point, and he's good on 2CP defense in general. Why is Doom good on 2CP defense? Why? You get one kill, you've done your job. You've just killed the push. Unless they're running like a Mercy, or they have a 5-man ult bank, if you get one kill, which Doomfist is very good at with not punch, but usually slam, drop punches, slam uppercuts, he gets one kill, it's over. It's done. He does trade very well. Right, he's usually at all in, but it's over. Now the other reason why you play Doom here, why else would you play Doom here, chat? I want you to use your brains. I want you to use your brains. Look at the compositions. Why would you play Doom here? Think. Stop saying he has a big fist. It's not funny the first time. It's not funny the second time. It will never be funny. You will never be funny. You were not worth my time at any point in time. No Brig? Maybe. Yeah. Ah! The buble. Remind me never to talk with a French accent again. Bubble. Yes, bubble. Bubble. Nano Doom too. Yeah, like Doom goes well with Monkey. Doom goes well with Brig. Doom goes well with Ana because Nano Doom. Armor Pack Doom. Monkey dives with Doom. So like Doom meshes with this comp really well. But even the most important synergy here is this guy right here. Because the biggest thing that screws over Doomfist is one, his flanks getting checked, which Zarya can't really help with. But the other thing that Doom struggles with is CC on engage. And Zarya Bubble removes that threat entirely. Bubble, you cannot flash, freeze, boop, anything. a bubble Doom. He's N, and that's just it. So the bubble is huge. So he's got a great composition to synergize around him. The only issue here is obviously going to be, not obviously, but it is going to be tough to pack both of these guys. So Mandu's going to have his work cut out for him. So Kariv will need to hit his shots because you've got two mobile DPS that might both want packs. I actually think this comp is pretty cool. It might not be really strong, but I think it's strong enough, certainly strong enough. And if Eileen pops off here, you could see a full hold. So the question is how does New York beat this? So you're not going to be able to stop Eileen from engaging. So two ways that you beat Doom is, I think, one, you need to be patient and like clear out flanks and check for flanks. So scout for Doom, scout for Kaylee, like clear them out and poke them out. Remember, you guys have a massive poke advantage here. Yes, it's Echo, but Echo is really the only strong, long-ranged hero they have. So when I say poke, let's just say range, right? Whereas these guys have range, 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 and even a little bit of range here. No range, no range, no range, okay range, very little range, okay range. So you guys have a heavy range advantage. So check your flanks, set up your long sightlines and scout. And then the other little thing that you guys can do against Doomfist is you could do something called a bait or a fake. And there's sometimes where this is literally the only thing that you could do. Like Volskaya first entries defense, there was a time where like people would run Bubble Doom comps there, and there was like almost nothing you could do to break it without faking. So you like pretend you're rotating and then like S key out. And Doom goes like, rawr, you know, and then he's just used Bubble and his punch and slam and all that stuff, and he's got nothing, and then you can rotate for free afterwards. So those are two things that we might see New York try and utilize here. I'm a little concerned for New York, especially with the ult bank that they have. They need to like try and play this not slow, but they need to play it very safe, right? So I don't think slow is a good way of describing it. I think they need to play it safe and very disciplined. We'd like to build up a window here. We'd like to find a way for Guangbong or what, again, I don't remember his name, to get a pick here, to get a nice silent and maybe get a couple of headshots, maybe get it, like sneak a kill on the monkey. But I don't think you could just roll out and just treat it normally, because you're just gonna get grabbed and yeah, it's not gonna be good. Yeah, so see kind of what they're doing here, like see how patient they were, like very patient, peeking out here, getting a little poke here. Now again, back. You see the Doom come in, back. Just survive. You see how like very patient, and again long sightline here. Do not drop. Oh! But do you see how like the fight was won on a long sightline? And do you see the patience from New York here? The patience. Now they need to deal with the Doom. Oh, the Doom is dead. Never mind. They need to deal with what was I thinking? The Diva. That's what I was meaning. But good patience from these guys. The only problem here is that in the chaos they have dropped a point, which is obviously not great, because it means that you forfeit. Because remember, dropping the point means that your sightlines are shorter now, and now that gives opportunities for Echoes and Monkeys and Zaryas and Doomfist to come in and get picks on you, right? Whereas if you just had your Ryan Diva on point and you're able to keep your backline and high ground, then there's no way for those brawlier heroes to reach you, right? It's not about slow or fast, it's about range. And right now they're playing at a range that's a lot friendlier towards the enemy team. Surprised he stayed Kree, honestly. I probably would have gone Tracer. Oof. The Zen swap is cool. The Zen swap is, I know that we're going to have people that can stall point. So instead, I'm going to go a hero that is going to contribute a lot of value because no one's going to be looking at Zen, right? They're all going to be looking at whoever's contesting point, the Monkey and the Zarya and the Doom. So then Zen gets a lot of value. Whereas like a Lucio, it's like, hey, yeah, I can touch, but I'm not going to get a lot done while I'm touching. So they knew that somebody else could touch, so Mandu went Zen. Pretty heads up play. Also, Zen is pretty good on this point because you can split your Zen and Ana and have completely different sightlines for your supports. Yeah, exactly, Ramses. That's exactly kind of what you look like. And even if you don't rush, you at the very least make sure that they get nothing on their Doom engage, and now we can take high ground. But unfortunately, they ended up on point, and Guangzhou was able to trade. Like, obviously, I could go back and analyze that fight more, but I don't think it's necessary. I think the point was that in the chaos, New York got split a little bit, and more importantly, they were not able to keep the squishies on high ground. Again, you wouldn't necessarily need your whole squishy backline on high ground. Maybe you'd want your creep on like closer to point, but you wouldn't want your creep on point. You'd want them slightly off a point. And we saw a little too much of New York directly on the point, which caused the chaos, or which they lost to in the chaos. Again, I would like to see a fake engage here. Do you see the patience here? Check the flank. Back. Feather needs to chill. Feather doesn't have recall. So I think the Tracer pick here is okay. The Tracer pick is basically saying that, like, okay, we're losing a little brawl power. We're losing the power to maybe to wall off the enemy team and kite out. But what we are doing is we're using the Tracer to take some heat off of the choke. The Tracer will put some pressure on Zen and Ana, meaning that maybe there's not a nade up here. Maybe there's not a Discord up here. Maybe the Zarya has to bubble her backline instead of bubble her monkey in. So the Tracer is like a good mobile threat. And again, on most maps, Tracer would absolutely crap all over this composition. It's just tough considering how like in tight this map is. I mean, he's getting his trans charge because he's gonna farm it. Like, look, he's just gonna keep his harmony orb on. So again here, I would really love for a little more discipline here, like running away. Does he get booped in? I think he might have gotten booped in, but they need to run. Oh no, chat. Oh no, when you see it. Do you see what happened in the top left of your screen? Look at the ult charge. Look at the ult charge, chat. Look at the HP. Look at Friday. Beat. Oh, no. With his entire team on critical, he Ajax. He gets juggled by Rio. You can tell because look at his HP, the way it bounces. Boom, 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 boom. That's a juggle. So Rio pops. Huge juggle. Obviously, it's hard for us to see exactly what happened there, but that is a Ajax, and that is going to cost them. That's unbelievable. That's crazy, man. Wow. And that's it. Like, that's it right there. So Tracer's fine. Tracer got a nice little kill there. That took a lot of pressure off of the choke, but ultimately, spectator, please. This keeps happening. They do this to me. I don't. It's really like disorienting. I mean, you kind of saw it there. How like they peeked out, they insta hard engage, and they just get rolled. I think that's again a situation where New York really needed to bait that better. Like put some pressure with Tracer, peek out, maybe look for like get a couple Kree shots, and then maybe even preemptively back out. Like maybe don't even wait for them to go in. Maybe just start backing off early. But you're gonna see, Eileen swaps. I was not expecting the Mei swap. I was probably expecting more like a Tracer. To mirror their Tracer, but like sure. Mei is weird. Again, it's just like you're playing to control high ground here, I guess, with the Mei. They're gonna go underneath. And High Noon out. So here's the thing with this fight plan, chat. The problem with this fight, like, I just hate going underneath, chat. I think it's good to mix things up every now and then, but I don't like going underneath. Because the problem is that you don't clear the high ground at all. You don't clear the high ground at all. The only advantage is that you can maybe position your backline underneath high ground where it's hard for them to shoot you. But then these guys don't even care. They'll just drop on you. They'll just drop on you. Winston will just drop on you. He'll just drop on you. They'll go in, they'll grab in here, and you're screwed. Or they'll just go in and copy, like I said, like copy Ryan here, or they'll just trance in here. They'll just concave you. Like I just don't think you have an option to not go high ground. I just don't think that there's an option here. I don't know. Well, no. I'm saying they made a control high ground, right? Which I think is fine. I honestly don't see New York winning this fight. This is just really crappy. I don't know. I just think high ground in this map is too important. I just don't think you can realistically expect this to work. Like, just look at this creep position, man. Like, this is just garbage.
이거 궁 너무 많아서
Nice bomb, Bianca.
선수 나비 케어가 안 되는 상황에서 페더 선수가
So, like, you might trade,
혼자서 안 할
or is Feather just gonna carry it?
팀이 죽어요.
네, 근데 이 상황에서
Oh, the Rhine is 1 HP. New York just doesn't deserve this, man. They just don't deserve this. Like, I'm sorry. They just do not deserve this team fight win. This rotation is so scoffed. They get grabbed. Somehow they don't die.
이거
Mandu. Yeah, see, here's the problem. Here's your problem, chat. Mandu's a main support playing flex support, and he trances an Echo Reinhardt, who's first off, while the enemy team is in their own grab, they can't even chase this kill. Yeah, they might demat Kaylee, but who cares? And Rio just jumps in front of Bomb. Or does he get booped? Yeah, he jumps. He jumps. He tries to jump out of the way, but it's too late. And then Feather just kills a bunch of people because Mandu is positioned not around point. Mandu is positioned out in the open. Yeah, so I'm sorry. There's nothing to say here outside of New York just rolls the dice and gets it because Mandu throws with his trance, Rio throws his corpse in front of the bomb, and then Feather cleans up because Mandu's positioning is garbage. Yeah, there's nothing. And the best part is about, like, look at Yakpong's HP. Yakpong survives with like 10 HP. Yeah, just like nah. And then I think Eileen dies before ice blocking as well. Maybe he has ice block or doesn't have ice block.
페더 선수가 똥꼬쇼하고 이거예요. 똥꼬쇼? 혼자서 아나이타를 다 잡고 있는데 팀이 죽어요.
Yeah, so Yakpong doesn't even stall properly. So yeah, it's literally just Feather. It's just the Feather show. Feather just pops off, and that's really all there is to say to it. Feather pops off, and somehow Guangzhou throws that. Yikes. Yeah, that was sketch. Well, the problem is baiting Guangzhou into dropping is Guangzhou doesn't even care if you're high nooning. If you're high nooning, that means your McCree is standing still and we can drop on you and kill you. Okay, fine. We'll drop on you with our copy Rhine and we're gonna double bubble plus copy Rhine and nade and Discord and you're just gonna get nuked. Like, it's just like, imagine a monkey dropping on 6 of your teammates. That's scary as all get up, man. I don't like it. If you're gonna do that, I would prefer you to go like Reaper or something that's more tankier, survivable, or like run like Reaper Moira and just play underneath high ground, because then you know you can survive them dropping, right? You're playing Bap Kree, who are playing for sightlines, and you give them no sightlines at all. Okay. So New York throws in the brawl comp a great deal, and then somehow managed to luck at the draw and make it work. I actually think Guangzhou's played this map a lot better. I'm not sure, Oriole. I'll have to go back and count. Pretty standard opener. Summer Reaper. So this is... We already talked about this, so I'm not going to go into detail here. It's this. If they do play this comp, do they play this comp? Yeah, they're basically just playing this comp to cheese a team fight win. This comp is worse and longer sightlines, and they have said, hey, we spent 3 minutes stuck at this choke last time. And the only reason we broke it is because New York overextended once and then overextended twice. So I don't want to get sucked into that again. So let's just play a cheesy brawl comp where we can, like, hey, maybe we can farm up an EMP in 2 minutes. Hey, we can definitely farm up a coal really fast. Probably what we're going to see is a really fast rotation. So the nice thing about this comp is because there's speed, because there's no Brig, because there's no Ash, and because you have a Diva, which offers Matrix, which is stronger than Bubble and rotates, is you can just go zoom right through here. And if you catch Bianca off guard, Bianca dies. And then if you don't, you can rotate all the way to point, right? So like the same way the Symmetra was kind of a cheese because you could just skip steps and go straight to point, this kind of a cheese in the fact that you can skip steps and like slowly forcing cooldowns, clear the angle. You could just go, hey, we're going to group up and run them down. But yeah. Eventually, if they do dive, we would love to see Kaylee on a flank or an angle. Same with Eileen if possible. But it's not, when you're early rotating, yeah, they're just going to go. Exactly. So they're just rotating, exactly as we said. And they have to rotate away. Oh, they found Summer TP. Kaylee and Feeding, name a more iconic duo.
지금 선수들이
오,
지금
페더 선수가.
한 칸만 먹으면
So really what Kaylee needs to do is leave a more conservative translocator in spawn or closer to spawn so it doesn't get scouted. And then he doesn't even need to rotate with his team. He can just play in spawn and off angle here. As his team rotates this way, he can just farm this, farm this, farm this. But he needs to not, he had it just like right here. Like it was just no good. Or right on the other side of choke. Kaylee is not playing well this block.
선수가
잡았어요.
솜브라를 잡았어요. 카일리 선수가 솜브라를 뭐 10시간은 했을까라는 그 의구심이.
So they really need to like.
원래는 이제 보통 저희가 칼리 선수
Yeah, so here's the point of pressure. Kaylee's going to be behind us as we're speaking right now. Kaylee should be right at the choke. And Kaylee could either look for a hack or pressure on Yakpong, whatever. Guangzhou completed the rotation. Kaylee kind of threw, but
나오면은 이제 뭐 애쉬나 뭐
they're going to dive.
영웅들을 이제 생각을 하죠.
그렇죠.
뭐 아까
Yeah, they're split though.
이제 생각을 하죠.
I think so they dive on Zarya,
근데 뭐 애쉬나
who kites the dive and runs away. Now, in my opinion here, once again, like we really talked about this with New York on Rhine. I don't think you chase outside of point too much unless they're all like 1 HP because you're walking in to Ash sightlines. You're walking into long open sightlines and pushing into, again, enemy space, right? Enemy controls this space, we control point. So we want to make quick short pushes if we need to, but we don't overextend. Well, this is exactly what Guangzhou does because like look at Yakpong here. If you jump, force Bianca to run away, force this guy to run away, this guy to run away a little bit, and maybe this guy to run away, then you can focus on point, clear point, stabilize, and get ready to dive again if necessary. But instead, we see too much pressure, pushing way too out open in space, and what happens to Mandu? Bang. And Kriv as well. Kriv is 1 HP. And not only that, but we've got half of Guangzhou pushing out of point and half of Guangzhou sitting on point, so we've got a desync in what we're supposed to be doing, not to mention a bad strategical play, period. I'm not sure, Oriel. I assume he waited for him to translocate.
혹시 억지로 들어온 거라서 저희가 뭐
And now it's going to be really hard to stabilize because a big part of your mobility is you've been split for the last long bit, and a big part of your mobility and sustain is dead.
저희가 뭐 이제 변수만 안 나면은
오.
So Guangzhou did not play that well. They needed to dive and then stabilize.
저는 광부인 선수의 지금 헤드샷을.
Ooh.
이거 놔뒀어 이거. 이거 정도는
Surprised they didn't stagger. Oh yeah, they didn't shoot the dynamite.
기대. 저는 되게 멋있었어요 방금.
저 정도 프리딜이면 무조건 해주는 게
Goodbye.
맞습니다. 성우 선수가 견제할 수 있는 상황이 아니기 때문에.
And now once again, because the Brawl team throws the first fight, they have a much better chance of holding in the second fight because we're going to have Nano, Rally, Primal, Pulse, and Bob. And really all we farmed up here is close to a coal. That's it.
지금 제가 생각했을 때
If you're going to cheese, you cannot lose first fight.
변수가 될 만한 거는 칼리브 선수의 융화 정도.
Because you're running a composition that fundamentally usually struggles in the ult game.
지금 케일리 선수가 EMP를 지금 못 채웠기 때문에 그리고 저희는 나노가
And these guys, do you see how they're not even playing safe? They're saying, oh, we want to play longer sightlines? Just kidding. We're going to stuff you. No rotation today. We're going to nano and push in here, and we're just going to smack you right in the mouth. Because they don't even have time to rotate. Oh gosh, Kaylee, like.
못 채웠기 때문에 그리고 저희는 나노가 있어요. 펄스랑. 오, 이러면 EMP가 못 오죠?
10시간도 안 한 손브라.
That's it. Who's gonna touch? They're just gonna have to Cole monkey jump point. Oh, he gets booped. He gets booped.
오. 힐맨 잘 맞췄어요.
Wait,
예, 그
where's Guangbong? Right up here. How does he die? Oh, he just gets cold, I guess. That was goofy positioning from him. He should have been here. There's no reason for him to be out in the open. That was silly.
오. 힐맨 잘 맞췄어요.
Nice
힐맨
name.
진짜 잘 맞췄어요. 할 거 하네요. 이제 그러면 이제 잘 쏘네. 잘하네.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just really slop, man. Like Brawl comps. Okay, so here's what we're saying. Both teams are playing I think, pretty poorly. At least, like, it's early in the season yet, but we're seeing the consistent error for both teams seems to be pushing out of their space, overextension. Like, that's the simplest thing. Overextending over and over and over again. A lot of overextending. You get an advantage, they overextend. They get an advantage, they overextend. They see a dive, they overextend. Instead of forcing the cooldowns, buying the space, restabilizing, going again. It's a lot of overextending over and over and over again. Highlighting a couple players. I think tanks are playing mostly fine. Rio looked like he was playing relatively well. And Monkey, there was a little bit of a disconnect with timing, though. I actually think Mandu... I think Kaylee's positioning is poor. I think Kaylee is fed more so than the other hit scans have. A lot more on multiple different heroes. Okay. What's the difference between Tracer and Sombra? Tracer's a better duelist and better against spammier long-ranged heroes because she's very good at winning duels. Sombra is better at short-ranged heroes because she can outrange them and she can just sit AFK, build mouse one. But if there's something that can poke out a Sombra, she's pretty bad. Like, you could make a very good argument there that Kaylee into the Ana Ashe should have been playing Tracer, not Sombra. They should have been playing Reaper Tracer because of the threat of Ashe, the threat of Ana, etc. Tracer would have made more sense. Sombra's more of an I'm going to AFK and build EMP against your brawl, stand on a high ground, just hold down, like Soldier 76, Sombra 76 kind of deal. So I think the brawl execution especially, whether it was the Reaper Sombra brawl execution, but more importantly, the Rhine execution, the Symmetra, it was atrocious. Atrocious execution in terms of overextension here. But even when we were playing Brawl, it wasn't like, oh, they didn't know how to play Brawl, period. It was a lot of overextension still. Like, it was like exaggerated because they were in Brawl, but it was a lot of overextension. Okay. Briggs in.
지금 케일리 선수가 네.
C싸움도 재밌겠네요.
Connor, why do you think they're playing Briggs in here? And why wouldn't they play on a Brig? This doesn't seem to be like a long enough sight lane map. I feel like... Is this just because the sight lanes are just long enough? So chat, I want to simplify this for you. You play this comp when sight lanes are good. And that includes the ball as well. And Ashe. You play double bubble with Ana when the sight lanes are bad, or it's like brawlier. I don't feel like this map deserves Briggs in, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm trying to think, like, the sight lanes here don't feel oppressively long. I feel like double bubble would be good here. Maybe it's the Widow spot for the Ashe? Maybe? Maybe. Yeah, the sight lanes are good, but I'm talking about backline sight lanes. You know what I'm saying? Like, because yeah, the Ashe can have a good sight line here, yeah, but you can play Ashe with Ana Brig, Winston too. Maybe it's just because there's just no, it might be this, chat, it might be there's no high ground at all, which makes it so that Monkey's a lot worse. So if Monkey's a lot worse, yeah, the sight lines aren't great, but you can't play Monkey at all because there's just no high ground here. So I think Monkey is bad on this point. Mankey, I say. Holy cow. Mankey is bad on this point. So then you just play ball. So if you're playing ball, you play Briggs in. I think that would be the logic. I think it's just Monkey is really bad here. And maybe Ana isn't that much better than Zen. I don't know. Okay.
네, 그럴 것 같아요. 애쉬 싸움이 재밌.
And but this is where I am very happy to admit ignorance because you know, like, I just haven't been in the scrim scene for long enough.
위도우를 갖고 왔어요.
아 이건 못 참지. 상대 거지가 못 다.
The Widow is high risk, high reward because obviously Ashe versus Ball, you're fine. It's tough, but you're fine. Widow versus Ball, different story. So really, it's just going to be about like which team is able to control angles more, and then obviously is Kaylee going to be able to survive?
없습니다.
KR is a double bubble map? Yeah, probably. For KR and KR region is probably a double bubble map because there's more high ground and not long sight lines. LN deal? Honestly, I don't know. It was hard for me to say. It's hard for me to say. I really the only individual thing I'm gonna say is that Kaylee looks like he kind of feeds on positioning. That's the only, because everything else has felt like it's really hard without replays to tell player skill. And even with replays, you don't know like the context behind the decisions being made, so it's really easy to make bad reads. So I generally avoid commenting on player skill, especially without a replay. Kaylee is the only thing that's really stood out to me.
3초 후에 한 5초 후에 볼한테
Jihoon is nuts at ball. And this is probably a red flag, not a red flag, but a warning that we're going to see nothing but ball for the rest of this map, because he's a ball one trick. But Jihoon is a nuts ball. I mean, he was a year ago anyway. Like he could have made an argument he was the best ball in the world a year ago. But I don't know what he's like anymore. But I know he was insane at the time. So the way to play this is you're gonna see teams that are gonna try and control this area of the map, because again, this area of the map allows you to shoot people on point, which allows you to control point. Because you could put people on point here if you control this point of the map. If you go to point here without controlling this part of the map here, the enemies here will shoot you and kill you on point and you will lose. So if you control here, you, as a result, control here. Because the enemy team doesn't really have a good spam angle from this position here. Do you see how the enemy is here? They can't really shoot Yakpong on point from here. The only way to shoot Yakpong, because of like the little lips and stuff, is from here, right? And so this is why it's really important that Feather gets support on this side, because you need to control this. So like the fight is won, not here. It's won by Feather getting support and out-dueling the enemy Tracer on this angle. That's how you win. The Widow dynamic is, to me, the Widow dynamic isn't just the pick threat. It's the fact, though, to me, when you see a Widow in the field, this area of the map becomes a lot more attractive, because it's already attractive as it is, but it's even more attractive. Either this area of the map or this area of the map over here, because both areas of the map have short sightlines. The problem with Briggs in being here, which is it looks like where they are, is they can't support Feather on this angle of the map. So that's a little concerning. I actually think I feel like I would want my Briggs in, if they're going to be here, my Tracer to path with them and clear out this angle here. Or at the very least, Feather needs to be playing slower here, because he's playing very aggressively, but I don't think he's going to get any resources. I don't know where the enemy Briggs in are, though. That's really tough. I'm guessing, because I think I see blue over there. Yeah, so this is... Briggs and Zarya are far left. And Feather gets hard bullied out of space because he has no support. Because his Briggs are on the opposite sides. And Jonak just gets dove. They're rotating. This rotate sucks. Because they're going to rotate here, but this rotation is out in the open. And the cover there is really crappy. And meanwhile, Kariv is here, getting good LOS. Feather is not able to trade backlines because Feather has been bullied out because Eileen's getting resources, but I think this is actually pretty bad dive execution from NYXL. Check, what do you guys think? Yeah, that's what I think as well, Connor. Like, I think this is, I think, like, I don't want Tracer not getting supported this early on in the fight. Okay, so here's the deal, chat. Feather goes this way, Briggs in go this way, okay? Briggs in are unable to support Tracer. Because Tracer is not supported, our friend Feather has to run away. When Feather runs away, this means that there is no pressure on the enemy Briggs in at all, and they are free to just put pressure on the enemy backline. In addition, I think this position is fundamentally safer initially than this position because of the better covered, you don't have to rotate out in the open. So I think if you're going to do this rotation to get closer to Widow, I think your Tracer should go with you. I think your Tracer should go with you, or and like rotate ahead this way, or your Tracer should play more defensive because Feather's going way too aggressive. Where does her backline retreat to? This way. Yeah, I don't know the Ashe Widow matchup either. This feels like almost an overreaction to the Widow. But I'm like, I don't think that you need to rotate after Widow though. Like, I feel like you could just play here and be like, Widow's sightlines are kind of poop. Like, she can't really see anything unless it's on point, right? Like, she'd have to rotate over here, and then you guys could make a response. I don't know, chat. This just feels so bad. Like, I just feel, not controlling this side of the map entirely and forcing yourself to rotate this way without speed just feels so bad. I think doing this rotate here is a feed. I think this is a feed.
이거
물러왔어요?
This just feels so bad.
3초도 안 걸린 것 같은데요? 근데 저희 소나기 먼저 잘렸어요?
소나기
Like, they make the rotation, but
네, 상대 자리까지 먹겠다 이랬는데.
네. 지금 약
I don't know. I don't like it.
물러왔어요?
될 겁니다. 못 문다? 그럼 우리 탑. 이거
So how does this fight become winnable essentially?
진짜 물러왔어요.
못 문다? 그럼 우리 탑. 이거
지금 물러왔어요?
겁니다.
What happens to Krong's HP? It must have been Flora.
물러왔어요? 진짜 물러왔어요? 3초도 안 걸린 것 같은데요?
이거
물러왔어요?
Oh, Krong, yeah, Krong gets
못 문다? 그럼 우리 탑. 이거
Krong gets headshot. I don't even know where. Does anyone have any idea where Flora is?
게 없습니다.
He's with team.
이제 3초 후에 한 5초 후에 볼한테 물릴 겁니다. 못 문다? 그럼 우리 탑. 이거
지금 물러왔어요? 진짜 물러왔어요? 3초도 안 걸린 것 같은데요? 근데 저희 소나기 먼저 잘렸어요?
소나기 욕심냈어요. 네, 상대 자리까지 먹겠다 이랬는데.
네.
네.
지금
Meanwhile, Yakon does a really good job bullying Widow out of
볼
space.
필요도 없어요. 그냥 죽어요. 그냥 죽어야 돼요. 저거는 위도가 저는 위도가 좋다는 사람들 이해가 안 가요. 저런 세게 캐릭이
This is
없어요.
just chaos.
상향을 해줘야 돼요.
한번 말씀해 보시죠.
네? 어디?
Really wish we had a replay code for this.
면담 한번 하셔야 될 것 같아요.
강공이는 잘 쏘는 위도잖아요.
But then New York gets baited to point, trying to cap point, and they lose. Or they,
볼한테
oh, well, maybe not.
저는 이해합니다. 네, 지금 여러모로 지금 선수가 근접으로 2명을 잡았어요.
제나타
Okay, so let's try and TLDR all this chaos and simplify this as much as we can. To me, it looks like New York sees Widow and they say, okay, we go short rotation. I think Feather goes a little too aggressive on the enemy Tracer for just keeping him off of his backline. I would prefer him to play it slower. They also need to make this rotation properly, and Jonak doesn't get bubble. So something scuffs up here, and Jonak doesn't get bubble, and Jonak doesn't get the peel he needs, and he dies to Discord ball slam. It shouldn't happen. If you're gonna make that rotate, if you want to make this rotate, you cannot die to that crap. That can't happen. That's like just garbage execution on New York's side. It can't happen. Now, what does happen though is somehow Flora, from his being dove position, again, maybe he lagged behind, I have no idea, is able to hit a headshot on Krong, who ends up dying and plays too aggressive stuffing and gets punished. In the chaos, we have Ball on Widow, which obviously forces the kill because Ball against Widow, it's a one-sided matchup. And then eventually Kaylee's gonna go Ashe. New York gets a little bit of advantage, they go to point, they get punished, and basically being down your Zen over the course of a longer fight is a big loss. Zen does a lot over a long fight with Harmony Discord and just raw spam. So without really looking at a whole lot, Kariv survived a lot longer. Zenyatta is one of the biggest impactful heroes in this matchup, and so maybe that was a factor. Maybe it was New York going to point too fast. This is the first team fight we've analyzed in an hour and 46 minutes where I honestly don't know what to say. Because I honestly don't know what happened.
개복치거든요 지금.
No.
봅시다. 예, 왜 저렇게 죽는지.
Yeah, Bianca's rotating deeper, yeah, and Feather's just stopping the push into Mega, right. But I think Feather played that too aggressively. For getting no packs, no resources, I think that was too aggressive.
모르겠어요. 진짜 모르.
I think like Eileen could have pushed, and probably should have pushed and killed Feather there.
왜 저기로 갔는지.
지금 네, 어떻게 죽었는지는 모르겠지만 어쨌든
네, 어떻게 죽었는지는 아는데 왜 했는지 모르겠어요. 예. 왜 그런
Again,
판단을
this
한
rotation.
건지. 이것도 아닌 것 같은데.
I just find this.
이것도 했는지 모르겠어요. 예. 왜 그런
Again, the
판단을
polite
한
laugh. I love it.
건지. 이것도 아닌 것 같은데.
So do you see again? Like, I don't. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. we need to sit here and okay, chat. I'm sorry. I'm doing this for my own benefit. Why are teams playing on bridge? Why are teams playing on bridge? Why are they not playing mega? Is it the cover for backline that's just that I feel like cover and backline is just that oppressive, right? It's because if your Brig Zen are inside there as a ball player or even a tracer, it's really difficult, right? Is it just the ball? Okay. So that makes sense. So how do you support your Ashe and how do you support your tracer? Your Ashe can't play there. Does your Ashe just like deepen, like go across bridge, whatever? Because that's my problem. Like I understand like why Brig Zen want to be there, but like what, you can't pack your tracer, can you? Does your tracer like, I guess you could peek behind and to play open on right. So maybe, so you're saying Brig Zen go here, tracer plays like, you have the LOS this way, like on right side, and Zarya I guess just can push out further on bridge a little bit. I still don't know where Ashe plays though. Like does Ashe just play on main with tracer? So Ashe, tracer, Zarya. Am I getting this right? That seemed, I guess, I don't like Ashe's positioning all that much, but okay, sure, fair enough. And maybe you can like time it, or like you zone ball, and then you can you zone ball, you get ball out, and then you can coach gun up here after you get rid of ball. You know, maybe. I mean, Widow makes more sense until you're in here and you can't ever peel for your Widow from here either. So.
왜 그런 판단을 한 건지. 이것도 아닌
This mirror is brutal, man.
것 같은데.
What happened to that pulse bomb? That thing like suctioned onto the brig. You see that, chat? That like arced this way and like what? I don't think mines is necessary, but sure.
여기로 가자고 한 사람이 있을 거란 말이에요. 그냥 그 선수가 잘못한 건데. 판단을 한 건지. 이것도 아닌 것 같은데.
So yeah, really it's just a it's really just okay, so both teams understand the importance of this side of the map though, and now we do too. So they push aggressively from angles, chat. You remember, you control the angle here. You do not have to play slow. You can play aggressively. They go in aggressively with mines plus pulse in a small room. Those ults are oppressive. GG's. And they have no ult stance, right? And ultimately, if he gets stuck, it's not like, you know, that's just a raw, you know, skill play or luck play. You know, like not a lot to analyze there. But they do need to try and clear tracer before they rotate if they can inside. So they're gonna try right side. Maybe? Questionable from Jihan. That's a very expensive engage. Double cooldowns, a lot of damage done, and this means that you now get a free rotate. So I don't know what he saw there, but that was not it. That is not it. Look at your team and look at where you're engaging on. This is a rookie ball mistake. Now I'm being like, obviously it's a phenomenal ball, but I don't know what he saw there, but that ain't it.
지금 쇼낙 선수의 궁극기가 생각보다 많이 늦어지고 있어서 지금 어떻게 접근할지가 굉장히 좀 궁금해요. 약속 선수가
So they're gonna rotate right side, so they're not gonna try and stuff in this choke because they're like, hey, these guys are stuffing us, so we're gonna swing wide. But even as we swing wide, we're not swinging to the point, we're swinging to an angle after we've cleared ball, and we're also simultaneously going to assault this angle to prevent them from abusing it. You kind of see what I'm saying, chat? My only concern now is that obviously these guys still have point control. Jihan is almost full HP again, and you don't really have anything to follow up here. Like, this is just a question of like sitting and stalemating. Oh. Feather goes for a pulse and gets bashed. Yeah, Feather goes for pulse and gets bashed. This is actually really interesting. Another little benefit about this side of the map is it's really unpredictable, man. Like, you could be here, you can rotate here, and then all of a sudden you're peeking out in backline at the same time. This is actually kind of interesting to me. Like, you kind of see what I'm saying? Like, what? The Briggs in is peeking backline. Like, and I'm pretty sure that's an Ash Dynamite from here as well. That's crazy. And you notice, chat, this is a really great dive from Guangzhou. Look at the timing here. So Jihan scuffed up his timing earlier. Whatever. He comes in now. Bubble. Roll. Zarya starts to aggress. We can't quite see her, but she starts to aggress on this side. Tracer aggresses from backline. And at the same time, these core pick. So it's literally 1, 2, 3 aggress together, peeking here. Zarya, I don't really know what Zarya's doing over here. Zarya's clearing mines, stuck, whatever. Zarya's having a nice old time. But the bubble goes on Ball, who rolls through while Tracer's in the backline. It's like a 5-man dive, pincer dive. Ball roll through, Tracer backline, flank from the hits from the DPS players. The problem with Sombra is you get scuffed by Discord, and Tracer Ball can hunt your translocator. Like, they're just getting pincered now. Very questionable rally by Friday there. I mean, kind of unlucky. Flora just died instantly.
참 보이거든. 판다. 이거 상대 지금 숨어 있죠? 여기 디시하고. 일단 나와서 사탄 잘. 여기 디시하고. 일단 나와서 사탄 잘 걸었죠? 우리도 어쩔 수 없이 걸었죠? 네, 어림없고.
It's last fight.
판다가 다.
And because it's the last fight, they're not able to like clear out the angles here. They're not able to clear out Eileen from that high ground position, so they just walked on main to get grabbed.
일단 나와서
Zaborg, Zalug. This sounds like a really weird way to describe it, because honestly, it's a weird question. But one thing that I can kind of give you in terms of feedback is if you feel overwhelmed, like it's just complete chaos and you're down one and everything is just going, then you're probably in a situation where you need to just reset. Something you should call to your teams. I don't know. If you really are gonna pull an answer out of me, like kicking and screaming, if you feel overwhelmed and like everything's just going to crap, then you probably are right. Like, trust your gut, because when you feel like that, it's because you're surrounded, right? This feels really chaotic, right? Because like right there, the fight's lost. You can feel it because you're surrounded. You don't. That's my take anyway. I don't see how they win this. Okay, so the main takeaway there is that, like, honestly, despite us taking time to study that map, that was complete chaos. New York struggled to, I mean, the first rotate and Jonak dying was just bad. That's a mechanical misplay. And then on a retake, they lose to a pulse bomb. But then after that, like, Guangzhou just really nice timing. Like, we're seeing these dive from multiple angles, balls in high ground, Tracer in high ground, the Briggs in peeking on these flanks at the same time as the ball's going in. The synchronization seems to be there just a lot better on that map. That was well done. I'm sorry, chat, that was not great analysis, but it's just very hard to see what's going on. On this point, what we expect is short range, long range. So I'm curious to see, I mean, they know Jihan is ball one trick, so they've got to anticipate Briggs in. If you're playing ball, there's no reason to play Ana because ball doesn't need much healing, so you'd prefer the support that has a little more utility, right? Yeah, the retake is really hard. The retake, you have to clear high grounds first. That was one thing I think New York could have done better, is clear the high grounds, put your own ball with Harmony, and like just get him up there and get rid of that Tracer, get rid of that ball. I think that we saw a little bit too much haste. So yeah, I'm curious to see where New York, so they know this, they've got to know they're running Briggs in, right? So they're gonna think, what rotation are they gonna take? Are they gonna rotate short through left or short through right? The Echo is also an interesting choice. Again, this is more cover, more high ground cover, so the Echo makes sense. We may very well see a rotation through short left, because I think there's a chance, I don't know what this meta has boiled down to, but there's a chance that the default Brig Zen rollout is top ground, like this high ground up here, guys, but mirrored on the opposite high ground. So we might see going left, short left, because that gives, bubble, nade, monkey jump, tracer dive, echo shift, like a direct access to this backline. Because remember, it's not so much about playing fast, so much as just playing your short sightlines. That's what this comp is better at. Long, short. You want to close the distance, then you can just take your time. But you need to close the distance first. And I think going right, yeah, I think they go left. I think they go left.
번째면 재미가 없잖아.
We will see though. Feather's gonna pincer opposite side. They do go left. This is the only problem about the Echo, obviously, is that you're very scared of ball and tracer if you can't get pocketed. They're gonna keep rotating.
조합도 좀 차이가 있고요. 전반적으로 조합 차이가 좀 있습니다. 지금 뭐
제나타 이격됐죠? 한 팀이
있습니다. 생 조합도 좀 차이가
So
있고요.
they just go. So they just go. Monkey splits, and they split the enemy team, and they pincer the Zen quickly. Maybe so apparently Brig Zens aren't rolling out high ground, they're just rolling out main. Or at least that's what these guys are doing. So I think, Brig is split, so free kill on Zen. Interesting. I honestly feel like if they didn't see Zen there, then maybe they keep rotating, and maybe they leave like Flora behind and catch, pincer the Brig Zen that way. I'm just curious to see, because this feels like a little bit of a rotational misplay from Guangzhou, and New York just punishes it. But I'm curious to see like what would have happened if they don't screw that, because it's just hey, free kill on Zen, but there's not a lot to pull from that.
한 팀이 자 이제 형 제나타 이것도 정말 야속한 게임인 게 아마 제나타
What? What?
형 제나타 이것도 정말 야속한 게임인
What?
게 아마 저 제나타
That's insane. That is not a matchup Echo should win almost ever. Wow. Brilliant. Eileen reads his recall, tries to get that last clip in before recalling, and the bombs detonate, and that's it. So I think what you normally see is Ana, you see these guys rotate as 4, pincer this way, Tracer's lurking behind, Echo's trying to hide on high ground, and then you're gonna see a dive like this. Maybe Tracer comes this way or Tracer comes this way, and then Echo pincers from behind. But I think what happened is they saw, hey, Zen's just free. We just pulled the trigger early. And you could see that because Feather really wasn't really ready to follow up. And now the retake's going to be difficult because you have an Echo with cover. I still don't love the Echo, but I don't know what else I'd recommend playing here. But the Echo is fine. But you're going to retake with cover. Obviously, your Zen's going to have a hard time rotating, etc., etc. Oh, it's really nice. Yeah. Again, you see how they're playing inside? Short sidelines.
이제 안 뻔할 뻔짜 하나예요. 케일린 선수가 에코를 따는 경우.
이제 그런 걸 이제 변수라고 이제 보통 하죠.
그래서 위도우를 성향해야 한다. 이런 취지의 말씀을.
So this to me tells me that they're about to dive high ground. Otherwise, I don't think you see Feather rotate. So yeah, they retake on high ground, so that's not a surprise. But Feather comes this way, which seems crazy to me. This is a very easy way to get shot. So this to me means that they must be looking to go in. I mean, this is just the problem with Echo when you compare her against, like, when you play her up against a ball tracer. She's not self-sufficient enough. So she can't even like pincer here because she's gonna get poked out. She runs the risk of running into a ball or a tracer and getting like poked out. There's a rotation. They rotate off of high ground. Feather's looking to go back across, but Feather gets scouted. Yeah. I think for Feather,
갖추고 이제 변수를 이제 그 턴을 깨부수는 변수를 내냐 못
노잼.
I think the play for Feather was to continue, like once you've rotated from here to your team, you need to continue to rotate around this way and not double back in, because he runs into a ball tracer. Could Feather play Sombra here? He could. Yeah, it wouldn't be amazing, but he could. Yeah, Echo sucks. Yeah, Echo sucks here. Echo sucks. Yeah, he can't be this far split. So let's put it this way. Feather wants to be splitting late, because if he knows if he splits early, he's going to get scouted and dove. Either that or he plays like hyper passive and high ground where he can just like hide. But he splits, gets split, so this is a mistake on Feather's end. Feather should not have split back, and he certainly should not have split back outside of the LOS of his team.
네, 노잼. 근데 재미가 생겼어요 하나.
There's a nade, here comes a nano.
완전 대박으로
개 재미없죠. 변수가 나도 게임이 똑같죠? 네, 노잼.
Nice.
저 카리브 선수와 만두 선수와
Nice.
한번
Hero play by Jonah.
근데 재미가 생겼어요 하나.
힐벤이 완전
And they do pincer these guys. You know, it's not a great pincer, but you know, you do have Yagpong coming in here. Tracer's already in the thick of it. They're running into a Zarya. You know, like, and obviously the nade obviously is massive there. Like that's the real big thing there. But you know, like the big thing is they pincer, but they also, this is a very, 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 very short sightline. A very short sightline, and if you look at the enemy tanks, they're all healthy. So like, maybe if these guys were like if they'd been poked down from a long sightline before they closed the distance, maybe a different story here. But they don't get the chance to do that. This is where I just don't think, like, I think the Briggs in is just not quite as good here. There's more high ground for Winston to play around. So I think that the Briggs in is a little worse here. Because really, like, yeah, you can rotate, but you need to be spamming. You can't, like, you need to be shooting monkey to beat monkey, right? I think what Guangzhou could have done better here is notice how they got the pick on Echo by contesting the flanks, right? So what I would want them to do now is wherever Eileen is, Eileen needs to be getting Harmony and needs to be getting Discord and whoever he's shooting, and he needs to be hunting down monkey. He needs to be hunting down Flora. Like he needs to be like legit. You are not going to dive my team without like getting blown out. Because like right now I'm like, where is Eileen? So Eileen's on the flank. They get the kill. Like right now, Eileen needs to continue to be supported, and he needs to be putting heavy pressure out on these boys right here. Heavy pressure. Because remember, if it's short sightlines, you're not beating them in the core, right? You're gonna only pick them apart, right? This comp is one big powerful punch, maybe with angles, but one big powerful punch. The only way you beat this comp is by Eileen getting Harmony and Discord, which is what they're really good at beating their Tracer in a duel, poking out their monkey, right? That's what we want. But unfortunately, like, that's not really happening.
힐벤이 완전 대박으로
개 재미없죠. 변수가 나도 게임이 똑같죠? 네, 노잼. 달린 걸로.
Great sleep. Again, wait, did we just spawn camp Feather? Spawn camp Feather.
지금 광저우 선수들이 에코 집요하게 노리면서.
Kaylee goes Sombra. I think that's a good play here. Sombra is better into this comp because there's not a lot of range poke damage, right? There's not a lot of range poke damage, so Sombra's great. And obviously, Kaylee is not going to get dove over and over again. I actually think the Sombra swap here is really good. I think Feather should probably swap as well. But he's going to have a harder time because Ball is going to be hunting his translocators and Monkey's not hunting his. I don't know what Feather plays, chat. Honestly, like, no cap, Kree. Kree wouldn't be terrible here. Have either teams ever run Brawl? Reaper, maybe. Reaper would really struggle to do anything in the dive, though. Yeah, we saw a little Brawl on Eichenwald and a little Brawl on Hanamura. Torb? I mean, I can think of worse picks than Torb. Hey, Sherman.
Poggers.
Thanks for the 28 months, man. Appreciate it. I mean, Torb wouldn't be awful. Because you wouldn't be able to dive, but you'd be able to, like, give Sombra Tracer headaches. The only problem with Torb is, like, you don't really need another hero to dive in, right? Or excuse me, you don't really need a hero. Like, your backline's pretty safe. Like, yeah, these guys might trade your backline, but that's not really their win condition. I don't know. Sombra would work. Sombra wouldn't be great, but it would work.
이제 문제는 다음 턴인데 비앙카 선수가 자탄을
Yeah, they go
생각보다
Sombra.
많이 채우지 못해서 손바닥으로 바꾸는.
But he's gonna have to play like so disciplined, because he's gonna get nuked by Discord if he's not careful. His ball's gonna be all over him. Yeah.
지금 말씀하셨듯이 감독님이 말씀하셨듯이 이제 에코가 힘든 조합이라서 그런지 페더 선수가
So I'm really curious to see how this goes.
솜브라로 바꿔왔습니다. 그리고 솜브라가 사실은 볼 상대할 때 용이하죠.
There's the dive.
바꿔왔습니다.
But we can see the issue here. I assume these guys. So like first off, you know, you're running Brig Zen. You really don't want to be losing the Sombra trades here. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're running Brig. So let me clarify this for you, chat. The reason why I keep talking about short sightlines, you know, Harmony Discord advantage. Let me clarify this in case you haven't gone over this. Zen is the best support at winning this fights all over the map. Long sightlines. If there's a tracer duel happening here, the tracer that has Harmony and the enemy tracer that has Discord, that tracer always wins. It doesn't matter if she gets Moira pocketed or Mercy beamed. Harmony and Discord is the most powerful dueling tool in the game. Okay? If you're an Ana pocketing your tracer, but the enemy tracer has Harmony Discord, unless your tracer is just God tier, you're not going to win. Harmony Discord is too strong. So what happens is when you're playing Zen to win the flanks by pocketing your ball or your tracer or your Sombra so that they always beat the enemy Sombra or the enemy tracer or the enemy ball. And so what ends up happening is you win these mini skirmishes on the flanks. And what that does is that allows them to go dive the backline because they won the mini skirmish, so they have a flank to go to the backline. But more importantly, it means that the enemy tracer, because your tracer won the duel, their tracer can't dive you anymore because she's just running away with her tail between her legs. You know what I'm saying? And that's how Zen wins. That's why Zen and Brig are very popular, is because both are very good at helping with armor packs, Harmony Discord, helping flanks. So with Ana, the only thing that you can really do is you're better at healing tanks and you're good at short range stuff. Like we saw a nade from downtown that won the fight, but usually most nade and sleep value is shorter range stuff. So Ana knows that if I just stand here, I'm going to lose. Either to range spam or to losing the flank over here and losing the flank over here because Zen's just better. So what Ana's going to do is she's going to put her running boots on, and with Zarya and Brig and Winston, she's going to start chasing you down. She's going to start chasing you down. She knows she's losing the flanks, but she's chasing you down. She's chasing you down. And if she catches you, either with the composition that she's playing or by landing an aid or a sleep or whatever, then you lose. So I look at this here. And especially on retake, when they're retaking, they need to not just walk out and go down and attack the enemy team, the Zen Brig. They need to get Harmony and Eileen, go scout, find Flora, find Feather, see if Yakpeng is playing with his team or split. And what I see here is Kaylee comes out of stealth, but how come Kaylee's not getting supported? We need to get rid of Feather, because if Feather stays here, Feather can walk forward and kill her Zen Brig. Or Flora can walk forward and kill her Zen Brig. This needs to be Harmony and Discord, right? Or Pact, or both, right? And get rid of these guys so our Sombra Tracer can keep going and pressure backline, and our Zen Brig are safe. So there's your little TLDR. But these guys just kind of go in, and I'm not really sure why. So sometimes you can just run in because, hey, we have rally, we'll just cheat, or we'll just go in. But I don't know why they just run in. I don't know why. They're not going down main. They are going on a flank, but they're just running it down. And they even drop off of high ground. And you notice as soon as they drop off of high ground, what we have here? We have a dive. And because we don't have a support ult, because we don't even have mines yet, we don't even have a reason to go aggressive. Now the comp that plays short sightlines has a short sightline. Kriv is not going to be able to get enough spam before he dies. Kriv dies. Crazy.
근데 저거는 전 이해가 갑니다. 네. 상대팀 트레이서가 그 뒷무빙을 쳐가지고.
So like, we're seeing some clutch moments from Jihan and the DPS, but it doesn't. It's you're playing without your support. You're playing without no support. Okay, so chaotic fight. Let me look at what's happening here. Let me turn this up again.
판단을 했는데 팀원이 안 와줬다 이런 식으로 정치를 할 수 있는 페더 선수.
Now this is a really dangerous part for Guangzhou because they don't have ults yet. They're still, the entire round has come and gone and they still have not built a support ultimate. This is really scary. Really scary because these guys could just go bang bang. Probably these two ultimates before they get theirs, and they could just be, it could be 100-0.
이제 막턴이 됐어요. 99.
What is our dive looking like here?
이제 막턴이 됐.
And by the way, that's another reason why Ball destroying Sombra translocators is great, because again, it's not just Harmony and Discord. You also have a Ball who can run around in the flank. Ball is way better than Monkey on a flank because he's got a gun, because he's hypermobile, right? If you have got a Ball Sombra running around searching for Sombra translocator, like that would take so much heat, put so much heat on Feather, but so far we're not seeing that. We're seeing a lot of like forced dives at this comp, which just feels bad. But hey, pincer dive.
됐어요. 99%. 이거 못 비비나요? 못 비볐네요.
Yeah, this is. I honestly think the Zen Brig is not very good there, and it was not played very well either. Needed to be a lot more of attention and focus on winning flank wars. Like for example, Feather and Echo. As soon as Feather and Echo should have been scouted, there should have been a lot more pressure on him. But yeah, that's actually nuts. And then some of the rotations and stuff were a little scuffed. Okay. What do you mean think Krong and Zarya? Is Krong not a good Zarya, or do you think Zarya is bad? Last round, chat.
그러게요. 아까 고통 좀 받았는데.
Zarya with Brigsen? What would you play? Diva? Yeah. That makes sense. I don't like Diva in the mirror. Briggs in mirror. But into Monkey, sure. Because... But Diva, basically you have better peel for your Briggs in. But obviously you bleed ult charge a lot more. So you play Diva into Monkey Zarya. Ana, because you know that your Diva is going to be taking very little damage because there's no Discord on the field. Is that what you're saying? Posture check, thank you. So Diva provides better peel and doesn't deal with, oh, I'm bleeding ult charge because they're playing Ana, right? Oh, it's also because you don't need bubble for dive. You're playing more to like absorb. Maybe. Okay. Get him in call. I don't want to hear his cringy, whiny beta male voice. It reminds me of the fact that I'm British inside. I hate my heritage. I'm ashamed of it. Okay, again with the Echo. And again, like, let me be very clear. I don't love Echo in the mirror, but Echo's pretty good in the map. Echo's pretty good in the map. Like, this map has got nice cover for Echo. I do think that the Brigsen is better here than it was on the previous map. I think the sightlines are a lot better, and you have an initial high ground to rotate onto. I also think the Ashe is better here as well because of the high ground and the sightlines on the point. So I think Guangzhou, I don't think this comp is bad either. I think both are good. Both are okay. Both have high grounds. There's different ways of playing around your win condition here. But I think this comp makes me I'm a little less scared here. Yeah. So I also think Monkey's kind of poopy on this map, maybe, because there's a lot. It's very easy to get poked out here. So like what we expect from New York is they're probably going to play cage side and maybe look for a dive onto high ground. But if Jihan is, I mean, Jihan's going to cap point. Like there's just nothing you're going to do about that. Very little you can do about that. And Eileen really needs to be guarding Flora and preventing Flora from coming up the stairs. Do you see what I'm saying? So you kind of go up the stairs to high ground. Eileen needs to make sure they never do that to his Brigsen. If he does that, then the dive will really only be Bubble Monkey and Echo. And maybe an anti-nade coming up to here. But I think Eileen can make sure that there's not as much of a pincer.
조합은 아까 전에 2라운드랑 똑같은 것 같아요. 지금 카리브 선수는 여전히
Yeah, so they just go in. Questionable from Yakbong. Very, very questionable. Maybe they're just looking for charge for Zarya, but that was risky as all get out. Okay, so this is something I forgot to mention. So you might also see Flora coming across this way and pincering this way. Obviously, the problem with that is that like he can get discorded and scouted, and he might run to Jihan or whatever. But yeah, Kaylee will probably also play across here. I forgot to mention that. Put Kaylee here, Briggs in here, Ball here. Like I think you can spread across the map, and you've got pretty decent sightlines all over the place.
조합은 아까 전에 2라운드랑 똑같은 것 같아요. 지금 카리브 선수는 여전히
There's bubble.
조당 선수는 알아요. 들었습니다.
Peel on the monkey really hard.
살아갔네요. 다행히.
이게 좀
Are they gonna rotate to
자리가
high ground? What are they going to do?
불안불안하지 않나? 저 애쉬 짜증나
Oh,
자리가
Shonak gets rolled.
불안불안하지 않나? 저 애쉬 짜증 나거든요.
Yeah, so they do try and take high ground. They are trying to rotate to high ground. Again, Chad, it kind of fills in with what we're thinking about. Shorter sightlines, right? Shorter sightlines. My nitpick here is I don't think you have to rotate this to high ground as 6. I think your Ana Brig have decent enough sightlines onto what's going on here. I think you could just do the same thing that Yakpong did, but this time do it with Feather as well. Do it with Feather and with point pressure, right? You see what I'm saying? Because part of the problem with this last dive was because they all peeled back. They can't all peel back like this if you have point pressure, because Jihan's going to want to be capping point. He's not going to want to be peeling up, or he'll be fighting your tracer on point. If that happens, then Yakpong can jump in here with echo help and without Jihan being here, and I think this dive goes a lot more smoothly. I think the reason this feels so bad is because Jihan is free to go back without having to worry about point because it hasn't unlocked, and Feather's not here yet. At least Feather doesn't have a really good angle, right? I would say just do the same thing. Do the same thing. You got a slightly higher charge Zarya. Go for another nade. Do it with echo follow-up and with Jihan not feeling, and you just see what happens. I don't think you actually have to go high ground. I don't think so.
이게 좀 자리가
And if you do, you really hope that Jonak doesn't get 5-4 by Karib.
저 애쉬 짜증 나거든요.
That's not good.
그쵸. 프리딜이 나올 수 있는 가게요.
Ooh, what a clip.
그쵸.
But obviously this is where the Brigson is very, very weak. This is on Mandu. Mandu needs to, you can literally hear point being capped, and Mandu is not looking. Mandu is looking off in Narnia. And he doesn't even pat Kariv. So that's no good. The pincer is where you're scared, not what's directly in front of you.
오, 플로라 선수가 결국에는 잡았어요.
Clean.
이런 게 이제 변수.
And right, this is where Feather is good. This is where Echo is good. High ground, cover, direct angle down. It's like playing pharmacy. It's like absolutely oppressive here. This is where the Echo might actually do okay. So NYXL's chances now are actually okay. If I say if, and it just instantly gets shut
이건
down.
이제 패드. 이런 게 이제 변수.
Because they have herded the Briggs endpoint, competent point, and now they can take all the angles. The problem here is that Yakpong really just goes too deep. Like, Yakpong needs to play within his support sightlines. Instead, he keeps going and gets booped completely isolated. Huge play by Jihan here. Like, honestly, massive play. Like, Yakpong screwed that up, but honestly, this is just a clutch play from Jihan, dude. Because he gets easily healed by his Ana, and then he drops in a point, and then the break, it's just over. It's over for Krong, and it's over for Mandu. But instead, what happens is Yakpong gets booped off, and now he's completely isolated. Massive play from Jihan.
이건 이제 패더 장수 입장에서 쌍용 박아도 돼요. 애쉬 딸피라고 콜 했거든요, 분명히. 이제 언어가 다른 것도 아니고 저거를 못 잡는다는 거는 많이 아쉽지 않나.
Just kamikazing. Alright, we keep going. Ooh, run! Alright. So yeah, as expected, the Brigson comp is a little better. Your Ashe is going to get a little more work done. Your Zen's going to get a little bit more work done, just a little bit more. Sightlines are a little better. But New York's comp can work as well. So this is where the problem becomes that you can't really rotate to point because if Briggs in are on high ground, they can pocket who's on point and outspam you on point a lot. So you kind of do need to attack the Briggs in on high ground first. You need to clear off that angle before you go to point, right? Don't just rotate to point. You're not a symmetric comp. You're not a Ryan comp that can just TP to point and just hide. And, like, it'll be impossible to outspam you. You can be very easily outspammed, so they need to find some way to threaten Briggs in before they apply point pressure. Because remember, Harmony Discord on ball or on Tracer, you're not going to be able to out pressure that.
선수의 궁극기로
Like-
변수를 내야 될까요?
그냥 복제 안 차면 질 것 같아.
Again, you notice how Feather's playing tighter to his team earlier on?
네.
고통 받고 있죠. 애쉬 몰아내기 전까지. 몰아내.
Okay, slowly taking space.
저거랑 그냥 이제 하루 종일 섀도우. 네.
Now it's interesting to me that are Mandu and Kriv, okay, so Mandu and Kriv are here, so they're not directly on point, alright.
네.
고통 받고 있죠. 애쉬 몰아내기 전까지. 몰아내나요? 못 몰아내죠. 저거랑 그냥 이제 하루 종일 섀도우 복싱 하고 고통 받고.
지금
근데 변수가 났네요. 이런 할만하죠.
네.
상대도
Yeah, so
저거랑 그냥 이제 하루 종일 섀도우 복싱 하고 고통 받고.
지금
근데 변수가 났네요. 이런 할만하죠.
네. 지금
so I'm interested in this.
저거랑 그냥 이제 하루 종일 섀도우 복싱 하고
New York chooses to rotate to
근데
point,
변수가 났네요. 이런 할만하죠.
네.
which I don't think is a good plan.
지금
근데
So they do get one kill, but they choose to rotate to point with their backline, which, as we said, is not great because you can get spammed out from multiple different angles, which is exactly what we see here.
변수가 났네요.
Right?
이런 할만하죠.
The Tracer just blinks on the point, easy pulse bomb. We have easy spam angles from, where's our Zen here? Yeah, Zen's on this side here. So, like, I don't think going to point is the play here. I think, like, what they did is, here's what they did.
저거 애쉬를
So they contest high ground. In fact, they actually get the kill on the Ashe soon.
고통 받고
But I
있죠.
think
애쉬.
what backline should do here is rotate after the Briggs in. You see how the Briggs are on the low ground right here? Rotate after the Briggs in. Because you don't need to go to high ground to do that. You can rotate through the Mega, go after Briggs in, force Kariv and Mandu to go to point, and then you have the angles on them, and then you dive them on point. Right? You could clear out this angle on Mega side, because Briggs in are literally right underneath Feather. Make them rotate towards point, and then dive them on point with your Nano. And then now your backline, because for them to dive you now, they have to dive way outside of the support LOS, because the supports will be sitting on point. You can't punish you for going in here. And then when the Briggs in go to point, right, you could dive them as they're rotating, like how Feather, remember how Flora clipped Kriv, rotating to point? Same thing. Same exact thing, except now you've got Nano.
몰아내기. 하루 종일 섀도우 복싱.
So they rotate, they cut the rotation, they go to point instead. I don't think that's the play. I think you need to actively attack the angles. I don't think you go to point.
지금
근데 변수가 났네요.
And obviously that bubble wasn't
할만해.
great either.
상대도
또 반대로 변수가 나왔어요.
이건 변수가
Still
아니에요.
winnable.
상대가 자리가 좋기 때문에
okay.
당연한 수준이고. 이제
But you see, like, this is how you lose. Do you see this? This is your strategy when you're playing a composition can never ever be this unless you're playing like a Ryan Diva Symmetra where you just sit and turtle on point. Very, very rarely in Overwatch is this ever what you want to be doing. Very rarely, regardless of composition.
왜냐면 이게 진짜 자리를 먹고
Because yes, you cap point, but you're going to lose the fight, and ultimately 9-10% ult point capture, it's not worth it. You lost the fight for that.
상대가 잘 붙였다.
13% capture percentage is not worth losing a fight over.
펄스 잘했다. 다이브 잘했다. 이렇게 볼 수도
We
있지만
might see feather swap.
어떻게 보면 당연한 수준입니다. 이게
네.
저 불리한 자리를 극복할 방법이 없어요.
지금 또
복제가 있는 게 아니라 그래서
Yeah, it goes to
한번을
summer.
꺼내들죠.
입장에서는 주요 궁극기가 또 아직 있기 때문에 조금 어려운 싸움이 될 것
So
같습니다.
are they going to actually rotate after Briggs in here? Because I'm trying to see where Briggs in rotating.
변수가 나는 게 아니면 힘들지 않나.
지금 어느덧
Man, they're playing very aggressively here. Holy cow, are they in the low ground?
힘들지 않나.
지금 어느덧
Yeah, so it looks like Briggs in are just sitting on. Yeah, so Briggs in are playing very aggressive, and we anticipate, and we can. Okay, the question is why. So I think, I mean, the obvious answer here is that, like, okay, they've used Nano, they've used Pulse, they definitely aren't going to have EMP. We have double support ult and grab, so we're just in this last fight, so let's just go in, get a kill, see what happens. So Briggs in, they don't really care about the aggressive positioning. They're going to aggressively attack the flanks here.
80%
우리가 변수가 있어.
That should be GG's.
변수도 확률입니다. 확률. 유리한 자리 이렇게 막.
네, 사실
Yeah, that's gonna be GG's. Okay, so like I think the main takeaway there is that New York's rotations against Briggs Inn looked pretty sloppy on that map. And New York's rotations also looked sloppy on the Briggs Inn comp on Ruins as well. I think the Echo pick was definitely something that was questionable and looked problematic. It was okay, but because New York struggled with their aggressive rotations, they struggled with their dives, it didn't feel like it got a lot of value, and they ended up having to swap multiple times. I think the only question mark for Guangzhou there is what can we do to make Briggs Inn comp work on well, where the rotations and the sightlines for Zen aren't near as good. Like, how can we make it work? Because they look like they really struggle. I mean, they just got rolled. They got hard rolled on Ilios well. So finding a way to make that work on that map needs to be done. Whether that's, I think the first thing that stood out to me is I don't think they were properly pocketing Eileen. I think like Kaylee, sightlines are kind of crap on Ashe on that map. Maybe you could have Kaylee, like what they could have done maybe is have Kaylee be more aggressive with the splits and just pocket them more. So like you could have had Kaylee, let me get a good vision here. Like have Kaylee come up here on the high ground and Briggs Inn play here, right? Right, and just pocket him over here and like be more aggressive with poking these guys out. Like honestly, like even up here, like I know it's feeding, but like the first time in my life I ever want Kaylee to feed, because I don't think playing stack with your team into Ana Winston's gonna work, because nothing was softening NYXL up before they jump. Nothing was softening New York before they jump. It wasn't Eileen, it wasn't Kaylee, there was no Zen spam because they were rotating really tight. Like I just think they did a really bad job into that. So I think pocket Eileen, pocket your DPS a lot more so that your Briggs Inn don't have to get dove by full HP enemy targets. Kind of how they herded the enemy Echo, that was good, but that needs to happen more. Win the flanks, and then when you win the flanks, put heavy pressure on those flanks. I think that's the play. AFK noob, no, I'm not commenting on coaches, man. Like I think like it's way too early in the season to know, because here's the thing, a coach's value generally compounds as the season goes along too. Like not compounds, like a good coach gets better and better and better and he's the greatest in the entire world, you know, but like you're not, even a really good coach isn't going to have like immediate impact in terms of like how a team looks necessarily. It also depends on the coach. Like if it's like something the team really needs, but like you even see this in the NFL, like in other pro sports leagues, it might take a couple years for like the synergy to build in, and obviously in Overwatch League that's too long. But I would be shocked if like teams looked at this sloppy later in the season. I think like especially with the amount of compositions that we're seeing Brawl dive, we're seeing double bowl dive, we're seeing Briggs Inn dive, we're seeing Brawl with a Symmetra, we're seeing Brawl with a Kree. Like we're seeing a lot of different comps, so I assume it will clean up as the fight goes along. Yeah. So I think like right now, I know there's like NYXL coaches suck now. No. I think New York looked okay. I'm very disappointed. I think both teams played very poorly with Brawl. I'm trying to think what else did I not love. I think both teams struggled with the understanding of map control. I think that like the more I watch professional Overwatch, the more I realize that most players don't understand map control very well. More like everybody understands corner positioning and old economy and combos and maybe how to play the meta, but map control is a concept that we as coaches have failed in explaining, and really I even myself haven't really fully understood until several months ago. But it felt sloppy. But yeah, very entertaining. Briggs Inn is an extremely hard composition to like spectate. It's fun to spectate, but if you try and figure out what's going on, it's rough.